Beating up on people all year long. Tonight they put their #1 ranking on the line against second-ranked Loyola, the D1 final.
It has all come down to this. 2 teams, 1 game. The last chance to make history. Time for boys to become men. Long Beach Poly has been here before. The Jackrabbits have played for the title for the last 3 years. But last season, they had to share the crown. Tonight, Poly will be looking to be the last one standing. Their weapon, the fastest jackrabbit of them all. Junior Herschel Dennis ran for over 1,100 yards this year, and he'll be looking to tear up the Big Ed's turf. Loyola has not won the title since 1990, and they're looking to return to championship 4. Their weapon is a threat from both sides of the ball. Multi-talented senior Matt Ware. Whether he's throwing bombs or running the field, Ware is a one-man wrecking crew.
And is looking to make them down rabbits hopping mad.
It's the D1 Championship. Loyola Long Beach Poly. Next on Fox Sports Net 2.
And now live from the Big Ed in Anaheim, California, Fox Sports Net 2 presents the CIF Southern Section Division I Football Championship. Tonight, the Loyola Cubs taking on the co-defending champion, Long Beach Poly Jackrabbits. It's the biggest game, so we go to the biggest house. They expect a crowd upwards of 20,000 people for the D1 final tonight. And in the final game, you want the 2 best teams in the land. Southern California top 10, you need to go no deeper than #2, Loyola, and Long Beach Poly right at the top where they belong. The teams are combined 25-1. Welcome to Edison Field, everybody. I'm Jim Watson. High school football on Fox Sports Net 2, and we end it right here, the CIF Division I final. This game has all the markings of a classic. It has everything that you want. History, this series dates back to 1929. Recency, they met in 1998 in the second round of the playoffs. Long Beach Poly won that one 35-20. It's a big game. It's 1, it's 2. And John Jackson, who's always with us for the past 4 years, is with us again. Let's talk about the Loyola Cubs. 12-1, a quality program. Their only loss to Mater Dei this season. Great athletes on both sides of the ball, but none better than quarterback Matt Ware.
Yeah, Jim, Matt Ware is no doubt the best athlete, all-around athlete in the state. And he's done it this year all kinds of ways, running the ball over 1,000 yards. That's right, 1,000 yards from the quarterback position on the ground. He's also done it in the air, and he'll have to do it tonight against a very strong front 7 of Long Beach Poly. He'll have to go down the field and make completions. He's also caught a touchdown pass from the quarterback position. But, Jim, he is probably the best free safety, so Loyola's hope tonight rely on Matt Ware and how well he plays.
He's a great athlete, and he's a great kid. We haven't even snapped the ball yet, and there's already an injury. Last week after the semifinal, Matt Ware went over to the fence, went to high-five a fan, and cut the webbing right between his thumb and index finger. 3 stitches. I talked to him just minutes before kickoff. He says, it's not a factor. I'm not even thinking about it. Let's talk about Long Beach Poly, the best team in Southern California. And a lot of people say one of the best teams in the country. Big Mike Lamb joins us for the final. Good to see you, big man. Thanks for coming in. Let's talk about the Jackrabbits. This team has been beating up on everybody. Nobody close. 6 shutouts on the defensive side of the ball. Offensively, a great junior running back, Herschel Dennis, 2,000 yards.
Well, I think if you're a fan of the running game, you're going to enjoy tonight because you've got Herschel Dennis, who is somewhat of a throwback, a guy that is not afraid to go in between the tackles. And when he's confronted with the defender, he just as soon run the guy over as try to run around him. Last week in the game against Esperanza, he was truly the story. He came through. You see his numbers there. 41 rushes in that game, 239 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Herschel Dennis really is the key for Poly. If he can get off the way he did last week, it's going to be a nice night for fans of Long Beach Poly High School.
And this week got special. On Tuesday, Herschel Dennis doesn't ever talk. It's hard to get a word out of this young man, but on Tuesday, he didn't like the way the Jackrabbits practiced, so he got up in front of the rest of the team and he gave them the riot act. He got in their faces. He said, hey, this is the end of the season. This is the D1 championship. If Herschel Dennis is talking, it must be big. Well, you talk about the Loyola running game. They have 2 sophomores in their backfield. Matt Ware is going to turn around and see some very fresh faces behind him. For more on that, let's go down to the sideline and Brian Curtis.
Well, thanks a lot, Jim. You know, Matt Ware is not the only reason why Loyola is playing tonight in the Division I title game. They have sensational sophomores in the backfield for the Cubbies. Raphael Rice and Beau Renault. So far on the season, Rice has amassed 1,300 yards and 20 touchdowns and has 2 200-yard-plus rushing games so far in the playoffs. His backfield mate, Beau Renault, has contributed over 400 yards this season, so they are a potent 1-2 punch. Now, whose job is it to stop them? Well, Long Beach Poly's defense, led by the maniac Raymond Tago. He's got 75 tackles on the season, and he's led a Poly defense that has shut out 6 opponents, and they have only given up 90 points the entire season. So keep an eye on those guys. And Jim, one last thing. If you can't get a word in between Lamb and JJ, just come down here. I'll talk to you.
Oh, yeah, just what we need. Another voice in the booth tonight. All right, Brian, thank you very much. This one has everything you want. It's Long Beach against Los Angeles. It's private against public. One of the coaches went to SC. The other one went to UCLA. It's the D1 final. Poly and Loyola. We come back to the Big Ad in Anaheim.
An intimate song is a celebration of love.
When I need you.
Now get Touched by Love, a new 36-song collection of the most popular soft rock hits.
Darling, if you want me to be closer to you, get closer to me. I love you. I honestly love you. I go crazy when I look in your.
You'll feel the magic of love in every song.
Sometimes when we touch, the honesty's too much. And I would give anything I own. Give up my life, my heart, my home. You are so beautiful.
Touched by Love brings you 36 of the most romantic songs of our time.
Turn the other way, baby. I love you to want me the way that I want you. But there's a warm wind blowing the stars around, and I'd really love to see you tonight. Even the nights are better.
Touched by Love is not sold in stores, so order now.
And I will love you always. Just you.
Call this toll-free number now for Touched by Love. 2 cassettes, $19.98. 2 CDs, $26.98. Plus $4.95 shipping. Call now.
Welcome back to the CIF Division I Championship. Edison International Field in Anaheim. Loyola, number 2 in Southern California. Long Beach Poly is number 1. Loyola head coach Steve Grady, he has been there for a quarter of a century, 25 years. He's won 233 games. He won a CIF title back in 1990 as a head coach. He won another one back in 1962 as a player. Now, Jerry Jaso is also a graduate of the school that he coaches, Long Beach Poly. And what a program he has put together. He's been there 16 years, last 6 as the solo head coach, 160 victories, 80%. He's won 3 CIF football championships, and Long Beach Poly has been on this field in this game the last 3 years. All 3 of those years, though, against modern day. Tonight, the opponent a little bit different. The Loyola Cubs, 2 traditional powers in the big park, a crowd of 20,000. You're watching it live on Fox Sports Net 2. Jim Watson, John Jackson, Mike Lamb, and Brian Curtis, and we are underway. Poly won the toss, elected to defer and kick off. And Loyola receiving the kickoff out to the 20-yard line. It was Quentin Daniels. Now, offensively, Loyola will run from the eye. They average about 30 points a game and almost 340 yards. Matt Ware, how much can you say about this young man nearing 1,000 yards through the air? 6 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. They don't throw it an awful lot. Keith Ornelas is the biggest and the best up front. He is the leader of that front line. He is committed to Cal. In the backfield, Now, great talent all around. Bo Reno, Josh Soria, Greg Kuvulich, Lance Martin, and Joe Killifer is the tight end. First down for Loyola. And see if they run and stay conservative, try to keep the clock moving. This is what we expected. Long Beach Poly, the defense is the story this year. They always have speed burners on the offensive side, but defensively, Raul Laura has done a great job. 6 shutouts this year. Raymond Tago is a 3-year starter. The linebackers will rotate a lot of guys, and they're very deep here. Marvin Simmons is scary good. He's committed to UCLA. Great athletes all over the secondary. 14 interceptions, 4 of those taken back for scores. Kim Taylor with 40 yards in the semifinal against Esperanza for a touchdown. Just a yard on first down for Loyola, so second down and 9. Just outside the 26. Matt Ware looks to his left. They're going to have to throw to keep Long Beach Poly a little bit honest. Quint Daniels with the catch, and he is immediately put down. It'll be third down.
Yeah, big throw by Matt Ware, Jim, as you talk about. It's important for Loyola to stay balanced tonight, and that's what they're going to have to do. They're going to have to throw in the early downs to keep that defense honest, because it's a very strong front seven. Nice pass by Matt Ware, nice catch, Quentin Daniels.
Well, the other thing that you're seeing is the fact that Long Beach Poly has only got 5 in the box there, and they drop off 6 guys. So when that's the situation, I think you're going to have to stick with the run when you've only got 5 in the box.
Short of the first down, so it's third down and 1. And they'll give it to the I-man. Good pressure upfield by Long Beach Poly. Going to be short of the first down, and Loyola will have to kick it away.
Yeah, Darnell being the strong safety, up tight on a short yardage situation, able to penetrate in the backfield, bring him down for actually a loss of 1.
I think that's going to be a recurring theme tonight with Poly. I think that you're going to see some gambling on defense, and I know that they're going to want to bring guys from the secondary up to make some plays versus the run.
Kevin Connell on to kick. Josh Hawkins and Mike Willis are back deep for Long Beach Poly. And this will be Hawkins, and Hawkins is great. Hawkins inside the 15. 4 white shirts, makes a move, loses the football, and Loyola may have it. Pile up the 38-yard line. Cubs ball.
Oh, Jim, a huge play for the Loyola Cubs. We knew coming into this game that turnovers would play a big factor. You don't expect them on special teams, but this time Hawkins running through traffic, doesn't secure the ball pops loose, and Loyola right on top of it on the spot. Big recovery. Now they have the ball in great field position.
And there's a flag down on the field.
Now the flag is way back at the 41-yard line. And it's going to be a face mask. The face mask is on Long Beach Poly. It's declined, so Loyola will keep the football. But guys, this is one of the things that Loyola knew they had to have coming in. You know, Long Beach Poly, everybody said that they were the big favorite. Loyola needed some breaks and to get one early.
Yeah, but I think Loyola, sound as they are with what they do fundamentally, if they get 1 or 2 breaks, they might be able to put some pressure on Poly.
Whistles and flags before the snap. Normally that's procedure. And it is against Loyola, so they'll back the Cubs up. It'll be first down and 15.
Jim, to clarify any confusion on that face mask penalty, the face mask occurred during the return when Long Beach Poly actually had possession, so that's why Loyola did not accept the penalty and move the ball 15 yards further.
Now it's first down at 15 now. Ball at the 43-yard line, and it would be so big for Matt Ware and Loyola to score first. Josh Soria, the only guy in the backfield. Ware's going to roll to his right. He's got some guys in tow, and Ware's going to eat it all the way back at the 46-yard line.
Well, Jim, that is going to be a problem tonight for Matt Ware, because the Long Beach Poly defense is so fast that if you don't get the ball off on time, as Matt did right here, he is going to get sacked. Ed Rugama coming on the blitz. You see, he pumped it right there, didn't have a receiver open. That's just enough time for Rugama to make the stop.
Well, the scary part of that also is the fact that you've already got your quarterback who's kind of in a half roll there, because you're anticipating some pressure, and even that doesn't stop the Poly defense from getting to Matt Ware.
Well, now it's 2nd down and 25. The ball back on the Loyola side of the 50 at the 47-yard line. Raphael Rice, the deep man. They're going to run a little option here. And Matt Ware trying to get around the corner. You think Marvin Simmons knows about Matt Ware? Been thinking about him all week.
And that is the key to stopping any kind of option. You have got to stop the quarterback, attack him, because if you let the quarterback run down the line unmolested, he can make an easier read. He can turn it up, he can pitch it. But if you blast him at the line of scrimmage, you're going to like your results.
Yeah, that is why Marvin Simmons is so high on UCLA's list. Already committed to UCLA. It's the speed and the mobility. He can cover sideline to sideline, so he will be tracking Matt Ware throughout the night.
You got to love him. We saw him play in the semifinal against Esperanza. We saw him play earlier in the season, and every time I've seen him play, he's intimidating. Now he's right over the center in Matt Ware's face. Ware, more pressure, scrambles away. Long way to go for the first down. Matt Ware sees the sticks in front of him. A big gainer for Loyola, but is it enough? It was 3rd down and 24, and he's going to be short by about 6 or 7 yards.
And Jim, all season long, Matt Ware has done just this. He drops back in the pocket, great coverage down the field. This really should have been a coverage sack, but Matt Ware, we talked about, the best all-around athlete in the state. That's why he has that label. He can do things like this.
20 yards on the carry for Matt Ware. It brings up a 4th down and 6 from the 34. And Mike, it's that no man's land. They have Nathan Oakes, who's a great field goal kicker, but much too far for him, so you got to go.
I think you do, and I think that you do have Matt Ware in your backfield, so you're thinking to yourself, why not? We'll take a shot.
And Loyola's going to think about it. It's already a big play. We're still in the first quarter, so we'll take a timeout right along with them. 7:41 to play in the first quarter of the CIF Division I final from Edison Field in Anaheim on Fox Sports Net 2. No score.
Sunday night fights on Fox Sports Net. Pound for pound, the best fighters in the world go toe-to-toe. Witness boxing fury from a ringside seat. Sunday night fights on Fox Sports Net.
आदाब विक्रम शो से हम आपका स्वागत करते हैं। दो खिलाड़ियों का नाम अरुंधति और पारस है, मगर ये देखो क्या हो रहा है। दोनों खिलाड़ी अब तैयार हैं, वो एक दूसरे के पास
CIF Division I Championship on Fox Sports Net 2. Jim Watson, John Jackson, Mike Lamb, and Brian Curtis. It's a full boat tonight, 4 of us.
Big budget production.
Matt Ware, the quarterback for Loyola, the Cubs, number 2 in Southern California against top-ranked Long Beach Poly. A 4th down and 6 from the Jackrabbits' 34-yard line. And whistles. The side judge throws the flag. JJ, you played out there as a wide receiver. What's that mean?
Jim, illegal procedure. They must have had a person moving after they already were set on the ball. This is going to be a huge 5-yard penalty, because we talked about before, Loyola was already in no man's land and had to go for it in a 4th down and long situation. So now make it 4th and 11. Push them back to about the 40-yard line, about the 38, 39-yard line. So this will be a long yardage situation.
Matt Bernstein, the wide receiver out there, just trying to get an early start there. You know, you're thinking end zone all the time as a wide receiver, as you well know, JJ.
Lance Martin and Greg Kuvulis, the wideouts,
Can never get there too fast.
4th and 11. And Ware's going to have to throw against a defense that's coming after him. Ware down the sideline for Kuvulis, knocked away, incomplete. Good play by Kim Taylor, the quarterback. And Matt Ware and the Cubs will hand it over.
Yeah, very fortunate for Matt Ware not to have that one taken back. Both cornerbacks for Long Beach Poly have taken interceptions back for touchdown in the playoffs. Look at Kim Taylor, the break on the ball. That's perfect timing. If that ball's not too high, it goes back for 6.
Yeah, I think you're seeing already Kim Taylor starting to squat a little bit. I think that in their minds, the corners are looking for an interception. And you said it, JJ. They've taken them back, and I think once you taste that, it's pretty sweet.
Marquis White, the quarterback for Long Beach Poly, comes up under center and hands, as expected, to Herschel Dennis, who spins, breaking a couple of tackles. And Herschel Dennis, I'm sure you're going to hear that name all night long. Marquis White is your quarterback, 50% on the year. They don't ask him to throw the ball an awful lot. Under 1,500 yards, 15 touchdowns, of course. Now they've been kind of decimated up front by graduation. Only one guy back, that's Thomas Soa. He's the only returning starter. Herschel Dennis is great in the backfield. Dante Candler and Joshua Hawkins are excellent. Mercedes Lewis is an all-around athlete and very tall as the tight end, 6'6", 225, and a perfect target for a tall quarterback. They pitch back to Herschel Dennis. On second down at about 6, right near the first down marker, driven out of bounds. Defensively for Loyola, strong against the run. Like usual, Steve Grady likes to put his best athletes on defense. Josh Quay, well, recruiters a little late coming around, but this guy is very, very good. Nathan Green on the other side. Nice balance for them. The linebackers are both excellent. Chad Slapnicka and Jordan Trott. The secondary must help in containing Dennis and not get caught up because the Poly receivers are very good. Greg Kavulich plays both sides of the ball, and he leads Loyola with 4 interceptions on the year. They're going to measure for the first down. It's close.
They're going to come up a little bit short, it looks like, Jim, on this measurement. It'll be up 3rd and 1. And Mike, you can relate to this. This huge offensive line for Long Beach Poly. I mean, these short yardage situations, really a big advantage up front.
I think it is. I mean, I think then it is a matter of, you know, are you big? Do you have the weight behind you to do that? Although it's a young offensive line, my theory is that they kind of came into their own last week in that Esperanza game because it was not really in the game plan for Poly to run the ball like that against Esperanza, but it was there, and they said they just had to take advantage of it. Although talking to Coach before the game, you know, they were telling me we don't do as well against a 50 front as we do against an even front. So tonight we've got to see again, can we establish that running game?
Yeah, Jerry Jaso, he said he challenged his front line in that Esperanza game. He talked with them and he said, look, you know, Esperanza is huge up front. Let's see if you can do it against a big team because they've been doing it all year long against smaller opponents. On 3rd down and 1, they just plow forward and they have enough. The chains will move. Marquis White, the quarterback, 6'6", 220, senior. He does carry it, but he doesn't like to run. Only 24 carries on the year and only 2 yards rushing in the playoffs. He also plays on Poly's CIF championship basketball team. A couple of these guys do that, and a lot of them on the track team with Don Norford as well. No team has sent more players to the NFL than Long Beach Poly. Nobody. Herschel Dennis, driven out of bounds. Nothing there. Jordan Trott, the linebacker, coming up to make a play.
I think that's the kind of play where Herschel Dennis has got to look for a cutback there. When you run a sweep into the boundary, you know, you're going to run out of real estate. And as he progresses as a running back, he's going to know that. And he's going to run out of territory. He's going to come to the sideline, look for the cutback. And while the cutback isn't very big right now, the first part of the game, as the game progresses, those things start to crack open.
Herschel Dennis now, 3 carries, 9 yards. They fake to him this time. They're going to throw it out to Rory Carrington in the flat. Gets around Jordan Trott. I think he's got enough for the first down. Matt Ware came up with the football. Matt Ware, the quarterback, also plays in the secondary for Loyola as a strong safety, but they're going to whistle it down.
Yeah, just a play fake, and they're going to go to Carrington in the flat. And Jim, everybody talks about Herschel Dennis and the job that he's done this year, but really Roy Carrington, the unsung hero, 645 yards rushing this year, 133 through the air. That's only his 10th reception, but they all are big in games like this.
Candler and Hawkins wide to the left. They haven't tried to stretch the Loyola defense as of yet. 3rd down and short again, and again Marquis White goes right behind center.
You know, it's almost an embarrassment of riches when you look at Poly High School and the athletes that they have on their offense. You know, a lot of options are there for you. And when it gets down to it, if it is a short yardage situation, you've got a guy like Herschel Dennis, which obviously the Loyola defense wants to key on. But then you've got somebody like Marquis White. And to me, that's a good sneak. And I know that sounds kind of iffy, Well, some guys get up high and they get blasted and they don't get the first down. Obviously, the Poly quarterback's very well schooled and getting the first down with the sneak.
Mike Willis now is the wide out. Marquis White going to set up the screen. They throw it to Carrington. Carrington had all kinds of space and a couple of big hogs in front of him and couldn't bring the football in.
Touchdown, JJ.
Hey, and Merle Cole, who calls the play for Long Beach Poly, that was perfect timing because Loyola is bunched up in the front. They have to stop Dennis as well as put pressure on Marquis White. Watch the linebackers. They're going to come, shoot the gap. Marquis White waits perfectly, just a little high throw to Roy Carrington. But if he comes up with that catch, there's nobody in front of him, as you can see from our screen.
No white shirts there at all.
Two big guys out there. You got to reward the big man with a screen once in a while. And, you know, that's a tough touch right there. That's a pass that's hard to get off because you're thinking about fooling the linebackers. You guys coming back at you, and you got to fade back, and yet you have to throw a strike.
Candler and Hawkins wide left, and again, whistles before. A little bit of nerves maybe on both sides. You know, we were down on the field talking with these guys. They think about this all year long, getting to the Division I final, but when you play at high schools and maybe some junior colleges all year long, it's a little different when you come to the big park, isn't it?
I think it's a little bit of that. I think when you look around, you're thinking to yourself, man, this is going to be a big game, and I hope my mom and my Aunt Beah are here and, and everybody. And then the game comes along, and you're thinking, oh, man, I've got to play well because I've got this one game. And I think that's part of maturing as a football player, as a high school guy that goes to the college level. Everybody's used to it. This is a new experience for a lot of these players.
You guys both played in college at big parks, but in high school, are you playing anything like this?
I was in the championship game, Jim. You want me to tell you about that when we can go into that?
No, let's not go into it.
Okay, let's watch this.
Marquis White going to throw again. Marquis White going deep. Got a man. Candler. Can't get it to him. Candler was open for just a second, and Matt Ware was rallying to get over.
Jim, one thing's important for Loyola. They cannot underestimate the speed of the receivers. For Long Beach Poly, Candler, Hawkins, and Willis can all fly, so they're going to have to be very wary of that deep ball.
Well, Marquis White got a little bit of pressure that time. Chad Slotnicka, the outstanding linebacker for Loyola, coming in on the blitz, and had Marquis White had time to get his feet set, I think that he would have gotten that ball down to the nifty receiving core.
Now, so far, it's been all defense in this one. 3rd down and 15 now for the high-octane offense of Long Beach Poly. Marquis White, short drop, pressure from behind. That ball is thrown out of bounds and just in time. Marquis White just got folded up from behind. It was Bronco Soretti.
And Jim, I tell you, to start this game, Loyola has to be pleased. They've been able to do one thing that is a key to this game, and that is to put pressure on the quarterback. They've harassed Marquis White so far early in this game. It's led to some key incompletions and, of course, a punting situation now.
Gio Soretti of the football-playing Soretti brothers.
And Bronco and Gio.
And I think you're going to see all sorts of looks trying to get pressure on the quarterback from Loyola.
Gio Soretti now back to return this kick. Takes it inside the 5-yard line. Starts to his right. Gets a block from Matt Ware and then backs his way out near the 10-yard line. So Loyola gets the football back, but with 90 yards of grass in front of them. No score on the board. The CIF Division I final from Edison Field in Anaheim.
L-O-V-E-Y-D-O-D-G-E G-R-U-C-K D-I-F-F-E-R-E-N-T Tim from my country mile.
In just 4 years, more than 1 million households have switched to Dodge trucks. And now, with Dodge Ram offering a generous $2,000 cash allowance or low financing, is it any wonder?
Tim from my country mile. Dodge! California. Let's go!
The New York Times says NFL This Morning is a 2-hour calamity. They say hope for continued sanity at NFL This Morning has ended, and that the cast would belch their way through their college fight songs if given the green light.
Sounds good to me.
We may not have the same taste as the New York Times, but we sure know how to have fun.
You don't have the remote, baby! NFL This Morning!
NFL This Morning, tomorrow on Fox Sports Net.
I'm Jim Rome. Next week on The Last Word, we'll break down Mario Lemieux's surprising return to the NHL. Believe it or not, I found somebody who thinks that's actually a bad idea. Plus, I'll be joined by controversial Dallas Mavericks owner Mark Cuban. The Last Word, 6:30 and 11:30 on Fox Sports Net.
Division I championship on Fox Sports Net 2. Loyola and Long Beach Poly, the top two teams in Southern California and two of the best teams in Southern California history. This one dates back to 1929. Pauley leads the series 7-5. First ever meeting all the way back 1929. They met the second round in 98, but they've never met in a CIF final until tonight. First down and 10 from the 10-yard line. Matt Ware hands off to the first guy through. Bo Renault, his tailback, just a sophomore. And Mike, you know, there's two sophomores in the backfield for Loyola, and you talk about it's a new experience for all these guys. For two sophomores, it's got to be a little bit daunting.
I think it is, because if you look at the 4 down linemen for Pauley, I don't think you've seen anything like that before. And I thought Gary Meek had a very interesting comment, the coach from Esperanza, that, you know, their line looks like a college line. And I started to think about it. Maybe not like SC or UCLA, but there are a lot of colleges that are not as big as the defensive line for Pauley.
Raphael Rice is the deep guy on second down, and they give to Rice. He's been injured throughout the playoffs, and he gets nothing here. Stood up at the 10-yard line and driven backwards. Third down and long, and one of the keys for Long Beach Poly in this great defense is Raymond Tago.
Yeah, Jim, they call Tago the maniac, and the reason why is because he can shed the double team, push through the double team, and drive defenders back. He really made that play. That play was designed to go off tackle. Tago single-handedly clogged the hole and allowed his other troops to make the play.
And of course, you remember the name. There's been a Tago starting on defense at Long Beach Poly since 1996. His brothers Nate and Seth came through here as well, and they were all great players. This is the last of the line, at least until their kids come back to Poly. Third down and 9 from the 11-yard line. Matt Ware with his back up against his own goal post. Is he going to throw it? Rolls to his left. Good protection. Got a man. Goes for Kabulich. Incomplete. And great athletes in the secondary for Long Beach Poly. Ray Washington is the guy who knocked it loose.
Yeah, what closing speed by Washington. Washington takes over for Marley Tucker and continues a great tradition of free safeties for Long Beach Poly. And see, he's in the middle of the field, Jim, but look at the closing speed. He closes right in on that ball and almost came up with that interception.
Well, that and the fact is Loyola does not want to fall into that pattern, that run-pass pattern, because you're really at a disadvantage with what you're trying to do when the defense knows you've got to throw the ball on third down.
Hawkins and Willis back again, waiting for the punt from Kevin Connell. Poly looks to get great field position here. He kicks it just outside his own goal line, and he's going to kick it away from Hawkins. And it's going to die near the 40-yard line as Loyola watches it. And so, Long Beach Poly, one of the best teams in the country with a very short field now, just 40 yards away. Well, for a more in-depth report on all the local teams right here in Southern California, tune into the Southern California edition. 11 p.m. regional sports report. They give you the lowdown on all your favorite teams, from the Lakers, the Clippers, the Ducks, and the Kings. It's the Southern California edition. 11 p.m. regional sports report tonight at 11 over on Fox Sports Net, or right here on Fox Sports Net 2 at midnight. Home team news, Mike. Where we live.
You gotta love it.
Get you where you live. Marquis White and the offense. First time came up empty, had to kick it away. Going right to the air. He's big, he can see the field, and he wants to go deep, and he goes too deep. He's looking for Josh Hawkins. He was covered, so he threw it beyond everybody.
Yeah, I kind of like that call, though. I mean, even though it's an incompletion, and, you know, everything can't be beautiful, but just the fact that you set the tempo, say, hey, we're going to throw the ball down the field on first down, that makes corners a little bit apprehensive about coming up and forcing on the run.
Yeah, and exactly, Mike. What it does also, it keeps Loyola from putting 8 men in the box to try to stop the run. They're going to have to play them straight up on it, and that, of course, will get the running game started.
If there's a knock on Marquis White as a quarterback, it's that he doesn't throw the ball well downfield. 1 of 5 so far, just 9 yards, and he's missed on his last 4. So they go back to Herschel Dennis on the ground, and he stays between the guards. Loyola is good against the run.
We talked about it at the opening about Herschel Dennis, and yeah, I talked to him and I said, you know, really, what's your style? Do you like to be a guy that goes outside? Do you like to go between the tackles and says, hey man, I don't care. You know, wherever they tell me to go, I am gonna go. So he is the good soldier, and I think that's part of the reason he's had so much success. You look at what he's done this year on just over 200 rushes, just under 2,000 yards. But look at the average. Over 9 yards per carry and 30 touchdowns. That's some serious running back play.
Candler and Hawkins both to the right side on 3rd down and 7. Marquis White looking back for Chandler. He's got him. Matt Ware with the tackle at the 25, and Loyola is calling for holding, but there is no flag. They were screaming for it on the Cubbies sideline.
So you're telling me that was a quarterback that made that hit? That we could hear all the way up here in the stands?
Matt Ware, well, they talk about his future at UCLA. They say number 17, bottom right-hand corner of your screen, he's going to be a D-back.
Yeah, Jim, he is probably the best safety in California, and that's the reason why. You see the closing speed wasn't even his zone. He had to come over and help. But watch Marquis White, the protection, good around him. He does a nice job of feeling the pocket, stepping up, and making a nice throw.
Back to Herschel Dennis, keeping it on the ground, down to the 21-yard line. They will feature Herschel Dennis all night long against Esperanza. Herschel Dennis, 41 carries, 237 yards, and 5 touchdowns.
And Jim, Herschel Dennis, we talked about his numbers, over 1,900 yards rushing. But remember, Long Beach Poly has blown out almost every opponent they played against. Herschel Dennis doesn't even play a full game, and he almost has 2,000 yards.
Yeah, that's a good point, because he has to get pulled out of a lot of games.
He does get pulled out, but you know what I think it's been more than anything? There's been a young offensive line that's come together as well, and I think Herschel Dennis works really well with them.
Herschel Dennis working well with his offensive line, vaulting down near the 12-yard line. Yeah, Long Beach Poly, they just come out on the field, you guys, they have a bit of a swagger. They know that they're the best team in Southern California. Nobody's been close. Obviously, nobody's beaten them. They just have an air about them.
And I think when you look at this group, you know, the first thing that jumps out at you, boy, they pass the eyeball test. They really look good. But there's more to it than that. I think that's an oversimplification. This is a group that does a lot of basic things, a lot of fundamental things, and especially in the running game.
Willis and Candler, the wideouts, again, they keep it on the ground again to Dennis. And Loyola gets 5 blue hats on number 34.
Yeah, this Loyola defense is often underrated. You know, we talk about how good the Poly defense, but give this Loyola team some credit. They have had a great job of leading this team. They are the strength of this Loyola team. The defense is the reason they're playing tonight.
Well, I mean, everybody talks a lot about Poly because they have been in the CIF championship game, and they have been here before. The Loyal is here for a reason, and John, I think you're exactly right. You talk about their defense, that's what's kept them in a lot of games.
Second down at 14 now after the loss. Marquis White going to throw it out the flat. Carrington bobbles it and drops it at the 15-yard line. It's going to be 3rd down and long for Poly again. You know, that's the funny thing, Mike. All week long, people kept asking me, does Loyola have a chance? Do they have a chance? And the knee-jerk reaction when you watch Long Beach Poly is, well, nobody can beat this club. But this is a team, Loyola, that's 12-1. They're only lost to Mater Dei a game. JJ, they almost beat Mater Dei in that game.
Yeah, and I think for Loyola coming into this game tonight, Steve Grady had to have his team come out and play as they have so far. They shut Long Beach Poly down. Remember, everybody talks about Long Beach Poly down here in Southern California. Very important for Loyola to come out and prove to themselves that they can play with Long Beach Poly and make it a slugfest.
Hawkins, Candler, Willis, Carrington, they're all in the pattern. Dennis behind Marquis White. He looks across the middle, throws for Willis. Incomplete. Pavulich on the coverage. Right behind him, Jordan Trott, and the Loyola defense again stiffening against the Poly-O as the first quarter comes to an end. It'll be 4th down. The ball at the 17-yard line. Game faces at the Big Ed. It's the CIF D1 final.
Blue Torch TV. What turns you on? Snow. Moto. Wake. BMX. Exotic locations. Action sports. Weekdays at 4 on Fox Sports Net.
The end of the year is coming, and your Ford dealer has begun a leadership drive to stay #1. And that means this is the perfect time to get a Ford Expedition, the best-selling SUV in its class. Right now, if you choose a Special Edition 2001 Eddie Bauer, it comes equipped with a video entertainment system at no charge. Watch TV, show movies, play video games. It's a $1,300 value, and it's yours now during the Ford Leadership Drive.
You called him a hoophead. I didn't say that. That's just some label corporate America uses to package us big time. It's just some marketing gimmick. Wake up. Open your eyes, dude.
ESPN's College Basketball is brought to you by Chevrolet, because we don't just build the trucks to carry people and their loads. We build the trucks that carry their dreams, like the Chevy Silverado. It's everything we've learned and everything we know about building pickups. Silverado, the truck from Chevrolet.
Santa gets all his best stuff from Good Guys, especially the hottest products from Mitsubishi. For a limited time, Mitsubishi and Good Guys are offering no interest financing, nothing down, and no payments for 12 months on every Mitsubishi product. Big screen TVs start as low as $1,499. Thrilled to the newest widescreen high-definition Mitsubishi home theater systems with nothing down, no interest, and no payments for 12 months. Good Guys delivers free and guarantees your satisfaction.
I love these guys.
Better stuff, fiercely competitive prices, Good Guys.
A big crowd at the big house for the big game. CIF Division I Championship, Loyola and Long Beach Poly, #1 and #2. Jim Watson, John Jackson, Mike Lamb, and Brian Curtis down on the sideline.
Thanks a lot, Jim. With Loyola principal Bill Thomason. And Bill, this has got to be a great experience, not just for the football team, but for your whole school.
Absolutely. This is something that the school gets behind all the way. And we had a great rally the other day, sold out all our student tickets, and it's something that helps get the name of Loyola out there, and our kids are very proud of that.
Talk about the mix of athletics and academics at Loyola.
Well, we ask our kids to give a lot of sacrifices everywhere in the classroom, co-curricular, our spiritual development, and this is another thing where the kids work real hard, and it's great they could get culminated in a game like this.
Well, thanks a lot. The best of luck to you. Jim, back to you.
All right, so it's 4th down and 14 from the 17-yard line, and Long Beach Poly, no surprise, going to go for it. And I say no surprise because this is a team that hasn't even attempted a field goal. Now they're going to line up for a field goal. Setting it up, and here they go. They're going to bring Javier Torres in.
I want to surprise you in game 14.
And Torres, no good. Well, maybe that's why they haven't tried one all year. He looked a little rusty.
Yeah, he's rusty. He hasn't kicked a field goal all year. You got to give him a chance. You call him in week 14, the championship game.
You know, during the timeout, they gathered them on the sideline, and Herschel Dennis was talking with Jerry Jaso and the rest of the guys, and Torres was nowhere in that huddle. And you can see the Loyola fans knew it as soon as it left the ground.
Yeah, good snap, good hold. It actually had the distance, but it was just a little bit off to the right, so Torres misses his first attempt of the year.
Maybe a tee would have helped that kick.
Infield not covered here tonight, of course. Rafael Rice dragged down after a short gain. Let's take a look at our numbers from the first quarter. A lot of defense in the first 12 minutes. Total yards for Loyola, just 17, JJ.
Yeah, Jim, but the big thing is no first downs for Loyola. That's what they have to do. They have to keep their defense on the field, off the field. You can't let your defense play the majority of the minutes tonight, so that's going to be a key statistic for Loyola, is get first down, keep your defense rested.
Bo Renault in the backfield as Loyola sends 4 into the pattern for Matt Ware. And Ware's going to keep it. Ware's cutting up into the teeth of that defense. He gets a decent gain across the 25-yard line. Matt Ware has to carry the football tonight because he's going to have to carry the Loyola Cubs.
Well, what's amazing to me, I mean, Poly essentially is playing like a 4-1. I mean, there's really 5 in the box with another guy walked up, so maybe 6, and you can't run against that? You know, I mean, it just talks about how physical the front 4 for Poly is. And, you know, I know it's a cliche in football, but, you know, in trench warfare, Poly's got all the weapons.
Again, 4 receivers on 3rd down and 4. Ware looks to his left. Ball is tipped in the air and almost intercepted. Now they're trying to go to Donnie Clark on a little curl just past the first down marker, but Poly, a couple of deflections last week against Esperanza. They do get the passing lanes.
Yeah, but it goes to show you the range of the interior 7 of Long Beach Poly. They're up close enough to play the run, but able to get back into pass coverage and actually get a hand on that ball. Junior Taliauli. Okay, thank you very much. Made a nice play on that, but he was actually up into the line of scrimmage where he could make a play, drop back into pass coverage, and get a hand on that ball.
I appreciate you taking the shot at it, though, JJ. Nice job. So Loyola is going to have to kick it away. 4th down now. Hawkins and Willis back again. And remember, Hawkins already has a fumble, and they kick it to him again. Hawkins this time has an alley. Hawkins, hold on, there's a flag. And Hawkins across midfield, but it looks like it might be coming back. The flag all the way back at the Pauley 35-yard line, and Josh Hawkins sees it now.
Doesn't there come a time when you just start telling your guys on the return team, don't even block? You know, just go down there and screen, set a screen.
That's right, because you might make a mistake like you did here and push a guy in the back and make it get it called back. But Hawkins, you know, a great returner. He's a starting receiver. He actually leads the team in catches this year. So a lot of talent on this Long Beach Poly team. And you're right, Mike, a lot of times just don't do anything. That's better, because I'll handle it myself.
Well, what I like about Hawkins is the fact that he attacks. He goes straight up the field. He doesn't run back and forth. He runs north and south. I think that's the key to good punt returns.
A reminder for you tomorrow on Fox Sports Net 2. Don't miss all the hard-hitting action on the ice as the Los Angeles Kings travel across the border, take on the Vancouver Canucks. All the action starts with the pregame show at 6:30. Be sure to tune in, catch all the exciting NHL action. It's the Kings and the Canucks tomorrow night, right here on Fox Sports Net 2. Back to high school football and back to Herschel Dennis. Now, he carried to, 41 times against Esperanza last week, so we figure he's going to get about 30 carries tonight.
Or 40.
Or maybe 40.
Or 50. I mean, it just depends on how it goes. And it's interesting that when the big guys can do that, and a little switch at quarterback for Poly there, Brandon Brooks, which a lot of people think might be the better thrower of the two quarterbacks.
You see his numbers there. Marquis White is a 50% quarterback. He's a 61% quarterback. So if they're looking to go to the air, they might be looking to go to Brandon Brooks. Very accurate. Those tight spirals. Got a good arm, and he does read defenses very well. Now, Loyola is going to give a lot of different looks here tonight, JJ, so maybe that's what they're looking at here.
Yeah, well, this is not a benching of Marquis White by any means. Brandon Brooks rotates at quarterback, and this is by design. Merkel told me before the game they would rotate quarterbacks, get Brandon Brooks his snaps. He's very capable, and the bad news for everybody else in the CIF, he's only a junior.
Well, and I think that's another thing you want to do. If you've got a guy that's coming back, you want him to get a taste of this championship game so that he's not intimidated by that. And I know that, you know, Coach Jaso espouses that, you know, championship football, Poly High, we belong here.
Third down and 5 for Poly. Brandon Brooks under center, and too much time maybe, or that might be procedure. You change quarterbacks and you're going to change the cadence of the offense.
Well, yeah, exactly right, Jim. That is the downfall of having two quarterbacks and getting this diversity for Long Beach Poly, is that you do change the cadence. And remember, it's a big stadium, so there's a lot of noise, so there might be a lot of confusion down in the interior line.
Yeah, but as much as that's the downside, I think that the upside is the defense is set in their ways against a quarterback, and then somebody else comes in as a change-up, and the defense gets in a rhythm. Now they have to get out of their rhythm.
Third down and 10. They need to get to the 30-yard line. Brandon Brooks to throw. His first ball puts a lot of air underneath this one and has the man open. And it is Joshua Hawkins, and it is a first down.
Of course, if he can do that.
Yeah, 24 yards and a first down.
Jim, this is an outstanding ball by Brooks. Watch, he's going to half roll, but he's going to throw the ball before the receiver even breaks into his route and puts it right on the money. We talked about that he throws for 61% on the year. His accuracy comes into play right here.
You see Matt Ware coming over the top from his safety spot. You know, I'm really impressed with Matt Ware and how physical he is with his safety play.
Brooks going to throw again. Now he steps up. Jordan Trott forced him out of the pocket. Slapnicka had a shot at him. And Brandon Brooks gets more than 10 yards and a first down. Brandon Brooks, the junior, coming off the bench to relieve Marquis White at quarterback. Jerry Jason decided to change things up, and so far it's working.
And you love a quarterback who can freelance and has what they like to call escapability. And when the pocket breaks down, not afraid to step up, and then has the athletic ability and the smarts to find the sticks and pick up the first.
Yeah, now we played a lot of different defensive fronts for Loyola. That time they chose to drop back and pass coverage, only rush 4. Brandon Brooks found the lane.
Now they give it back to Dennis, who's got 34 yards before that carry and maybe gets a half yard on that attempt. It's going out to Brian Curtis on the sideline.
Well, you know, Jim, during the game last week, Matt Ware was forced to the sideline suffering from dehydration and a hit to the head. And then, of course, you mentioned earlier celebrating the victory, he cut his hand. I was at practice the other day. He was throwing gingerly, and the coach said there's no way he's going to sit out this one. And, in fact, he's going both ways, which is something we haven't seen a lot of in the playoffs. Jim?
Yeah, they've been trying to spell Matt Ware a little bit in that secondary, JJ, because they don't want him gassed when he gets on offense, especially tonight.
Well, I'll tell you, Jim, right now, this is the championship game. The adrenaline's pumping. Matt Ware will have no problems playing all the snaps tonight.
2nd down and 9. Brooks, a delayed handoff to Herschel. Dennis in the backfield, and he's going nowhere.
The other thing is, Matt Ware can sleep the rest of the offseason, you know? Well, you got a guy like that. I mean, seriously, don't you have to have him out on the field in a game like this? And, you know, you don't want him to run out of gas, but he's by far your best player. And I think that when you've got that guy, John, you talk about the fact that you want your star guy as the supporting cast because you're looking him to make something happen.
Yeah, he has to play on an as-needed basis, and they have to win this game, so he is needed. Yeah.
3rd down and 10. Brooks again to the air. Pressure coming from the backside. They're setting up a screen. Carrington's got space. He's got a 1st down. Carrington inside the 30 to the 28-yard line. Good timing and good execution.
Hey, Jim, you can't call a better play at the right time for Long Beach Poly. Jerry Jaso, Merle Cole team as the coordinator for the offense. Brandon Brooks dropped back. He looked right the entire time. And Roy Carrington flipped out to the left. A nice screen, a nice run, and a big 1st down.
July 2-0 was out in front of him, Mike, and there was nobody there to hit. The big fella was running around.
You know, that's kind of the danger of running the screen because you get out there and you're thinking, well, he'll get by that guy. Well, he's not going after the lineman. He's going after the running back.
It's a 1st down at the 28. Little slant. Try to run it to Candler.
A little hot.
Stop his fingertips. JJ, you're a receiver, different quarterback, so the ball's going to come in differently.
Yeah, well, that was really, though, you have to give credit to the defense. That was great coverage. I mean, their ball couldn't have been put in any spot that it could have been complete. Brandon Brooks put it out in front to give his guy the only chance, to give his receiver the only chance, and the ball fall incomplete.
Still no score midway through the 2nd quarter. I think we expected a little bit of this. Both of these teams really put a big emphasis on their defense. Steve Grady, the offensive coach, or the head coach for Loyola, but a defensive coordinator. And, of course, Long Beach Poly with 6 shutouts this year. Brandon Brooks under pressure, dragged down by the shirt tail. Kevin Harbour, the tackle.
Hey, Jim, this is a shutout in this game, but I tell you, you have to give the edge right now to Loyola. They have kept this vaunted scoring machine of Long Beach Poly under control, and last week we saw them against Esperanza. It didn't look like anybody could stop them, but they're doing a lot of good things. They're stopping the run. Herschel Dennis hasn't been a big factor yet, and they're putting pressure on the passer.
You can give Brandon Brooks a little bit of credit. He couldn't find anybody open, so he didn't make a mistake. He didn't force a ball. 3rd down and 11. He gives himself another chance. Trips right. Brooks looks to the left. The only guy there is Willis. Willis is pulled down to the 20-yard line, short of a 1st down.
Now, Steve Grady, the defensive coordinator for Loyola, that's a well-timed linebacker stunt. What happens when you blitz, Jim, you have hot reads. So Brooks recognized the blitz and has to throw the hot route. The problem is the receiver can't get past the 1st down marker when there's only a 3-step drop, not enough time to throw. So a well-timed blitz by Steve Grady, the Loyola head coach and defensive coordinator.
No, I think you bring up a critical point there. When you've got a 3-step drop there, you don't have time for your receiver to get down the field. So even with the completion, you're still stuck with 4th down.
Exactly.
They need to get just inside the 17-yard line. And the whistle blows before the snap, the pack judge, and that's delay. So back him up, and now 4th and 2 is now 4th and 7. And for Jerry Jaso, it's maybe a different call now.
Yeah, now he is going to be forced to put the ball in the air, I believe, but you got to watch it. There's a lot of things they've done well. They've thrown the screen pass. They also completed some short passes. So Jerry Jaso has a lot of options. It'll be interesting to see where he goes here.
Keep in mind that this guy played defensive back at both at Poly and UCLA. So does he think defensively when he's calling plays?
You know what? It's kind of funny. I think you always do. If you were a defensive player, I don't think you could ever get away from that.
You got to figure what's coming at you and call the other thing. 4th down at 7. Brooks, again to the left. Down the sideline to Willis. Out of bounds. Willis is out of bounds. And a critical call. It could have been a touchdown. Instead, it goes over to Loyola. Remember, it was 4th down. Willis is out of bounds. He can't believe it. No score.
Hobby people, Santa's headquarters and your discount hobby stores have the latest new gifts for the entire family. Check out their giant selection at savings up to 50%. Guaranteed lowest prices on their entire inventory. Make dreams come true this holiday season with a gift from Hobby people.
Sunday Night Fights on Fox Sports Net. Pound for pound, the best fighters in the world go toe-to-toe. Witness boxing fury from a ringside seat. Sunday Night Fights on Fox Sports Net.
Hey, Keith, you're gonna show bloopers? 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 Bloopers. You gonna show bloopers?
No.
The Keith Olbermann Evening News, Sundays at 10.
Now, Willis and the Jackrabbits come up empty. He thought he was in bounds. You take a look at it, and you'll know that he wasn't.
Well, Brandon Brooks does a nice job there trying to throw the fade back to the corner of the end zone. But right here, Willis, you can't go around the pylon. You got to stay in bounds. But still, it's nice. And I think, you know, that's in your mind as a defensive back. Like, it's there. You got behind me.
So it goes over to Loyola on downs and still nothing on the board. 4:39 to play in the first half. CIF Division I Championship from Edison Field. Matt Ware showing a lot of confidence all year long, has been handling all the accolades. Tonight he's got to produce. His team needs him to come up big. Ware going to throw. They try to set up the screen, and Ware's going down at the 6-yard line.
My goodness. When you talk about defensive line play, Manuel Wright that time, oh my gosh. I mean, you're sitting there, you were talking about Matt Ware and what a great quarterback he is, and you would expect that he would escape, but, you know, you've got a guy in Wright who just comes in and is not fooled. He's not going to go for a fake, and usually that's the downfall of defensive linemen. They get back there, and now what do I do? Not Manuel Wright.
Manuel Wright is a basketball player, so he's pretty good on his feet, but you would assume that Matt Ware would be able to get away from a defensive tackle. Not that time. They lose 19 yards all the way back to the 7. So they go back to Raphael Rice. Now, I have expected Loyola to keep the ball on the ground, keep the clock moving, and we've seen some of that. And Steve Grady going to the air on first down.
Yeah, well, I think what he's trying to do is loosen up that front 7 of Long Beach Poly and prove to them that they can go down the field. It's sort of working in reverse. We know that they want to run the ball. That's the strength of the Loyola offense. I think early in the first half, they've recognized it's very tough to run against Long Beach Poly. We'll throw it first and try to revert back to the run.
Raphael Rice's numbers on the year, 1,356 yards, but tonight Loyola offensively only 24 yards. 0 for 4 on third down so far. It's third down at 23. Ware, half roll to the right, throwing down the middle of the field, Kavulich! And he was there. The ball was a little stronger. Kim Taylor had it go just off his fingertips, the cornerback for Poly, but Ware had a man, Kavulich, streaking across midfield and missed him.
Well, if you look at the coverage here, though, it's a little bit dangerous to throw this ball because you've got 4 Poly defenders back there in their zone, and they're just kind of playing center field just over the top of Kim Taylor. And we know Kim Taylor, when he picks him off, he likes to take him to the end zone.
Yeah, but Mike, we saw in the first quarter how the Long Beach corners were starting to sit on route, so Matt Ware recognized that, tried to go over the top. Not a bad call. It might get them back on their heels because they want to complete the intermediate pass.
4th down and 23, and Loyola kicking out of their own end zone. Going to take a timeout, think about things. No score, 3:05 to play in the first half, the D1 final.
Surrounded by the game, they are invincible.
One of the greatest hockey players ever to play the game.
Surrounded by life, they are all too human.
I've concluded that he bet on baseball.
Do you have anything to say to your fans?
Beyond the Glory, the new series that takes you into the lives of sports' biggest celebrities.
Absolutely outstanding.
Beyond the Glory, sponsored by Athletes Direct, premieres January 7th.
Love Fire, the sensual new video, sparks the flames of passion, igniting romance in your life. As essential as soft lights and music, this video fireplace with soothing flames and crackling embers enhances the mood of any special evening. Love Fire creates the perfect atmosphere for parties or a night alone. Feel stress slip away. Call 800-600-2613 or visit lovefire.tv. Reach the heart of that special someone.
Corvette in the sky.
It is a landmark.
Come on down.
Give him a hand.
Famous for its unique landmark sign, equally famous for auto detailing, which includes buff, clay wax, polish, compound, interior shampoo, and complete armor all for $95. For that special holiday present, pick up an auto detailing gift certificate now available at the Studio City Hand Car Wash located on Ventura Boulevard. You are in good hands at the Studio City Hand Car Wash.
Now, they haven't had a lot to cheer about so far. 3:05 to play in the first half and no score. It's been all defense. Here's what's coming up at the half. Check in with the regional sports report, see what else happened in the world of sports today. Give you a great look at the plays of the year. You want to get the VCRs ready for that one, and of course we'll talk about the numbers and highlights, and we'll dig some up. I imagine defensive highlights.
Yeah, well, a 0-0 game.
Well, we're not over yet. Pauly can strike quickly, and Loyola kicking out of their own end zone. Kevin Connell on again. Pauly go after this one? Nope, set up for a turn. Hawkins and Willis, and Hawkins says fair catch. Good kick all the way back at his 45-yard line. So Kevin Connell, a 43-yard punt. Let's go down to Brian Curtis on the sideline.
Thanks a lot, Jim. I'm with CIF President Clark Stevens. And Clark, it's been a great game so far and a great weekend of football in the southern section.
This is a wonderful time tonight, Brian. This is a time for parents to come out and watch your kids play. These kids have put in a lot of good time in preparation for tonight's game, and I just think it's a wonderful opportunity. Not only tonight, but there's games going on all over the Southland, and I just think it's something that CIF does really well, and I appreciate being a part of it.
Well, good. The whole weekend's been great of football. Jim, back to you.
Yeah, you know, CIF deserves a lot of credit for getting these kids in a game like this, in a place like this, and get the game on television. Going deep, and just off the fingertips of Dante Candler. I told you, Long Beach Pauly can strike quickly. Brandon Brooks is still in there at quarterback.
Is it my imagination, JJ, or did it look like Dante kind of let up a little bit in his pattern?
Well, it looked like he thought that he had a bead on the ball and sort of went into, I wouldn't call it cruise control because he's running 4-4, but, I mean, he didn't really go after it until the end. You could see the extra burst of speed, but by that time it was too late.
And Brooks double pumped, too, and still overthrew him.
Well, you know, as a receiver, Jim, a lot of times if you're running a deep route and you recognize that the ball has not been thrown to you, a lot of times you have a tendency to pull up. I think Candler pulled up a little bit right there.
Willis and Hawkins both to the right side of Brooks, and he's going to throw to the left. So they're using the decoys. I don't know who he's going for. Maybe Mercedes Lewis, the tight end. It was between two receivers.
You know, here's the danger here. You throw the ball 2 times there, and you run off about 8 seconds on the clock. And you leave almost 3 minutes for Loyola if they can get you out on 3 downs. So a situation where I'm thinking to myself, you know, I'd like to utilize Herschel Dennis here at the end of the game. And if nothing else, I want to continue to try to wear down the defensive front of the Loyola Cubs.
Hawkins and Willis again, and Dennis deep in the backfield. Brooks, pressure up the middle, so they throw it. A tight end screen, Mercedes Lewis. And the ball is loose. It looked like Pauly was able to get it back. And Paul Caldera, the referee, agrees with us. And Matt Ware pumping his fist saying, we had a shot right there. He wanted the football back.
You know, I think what happens here is Mercedes Lewis is a guy that kind of a little delay, and he sneaks out underneath. Nobody's in the middle. Obviously not man coverage on the tight end. But, you know, you talk about somebody passing the eyeball test. Mercedes Lewis is the guy when you walk out there you freak out about.
They're going to go right back and go deep. It was a first down, remember, on the pass to Lewis. It ended up being a first down. Josh Hawkins running down the right side that time, JJ, and he immediately turned around, looked at the referee, and wanted a flag.
Yeah, he wanted a flag, but I have to go back to Mike's point about the fact that Long Beach Poly is not running the ball anymore. They've gone strictly to the pass the last 4 plays, and they had a new set of downs with another opportunity to use Herschel Dennis, but I think the ultimate compliment has been paid to Loyola defense. Last week we saw Long Beach Poly run time in and time out against Esperanza, but tonight they give them the respect against the run, and now they're putting the ball in the air.
Candler and Hawkins, the wide out. Carrington is in the slot. Dennis again in the backfield, but they're ignoring him so far in this drive. They do again. 4th pass in a row. Brooks going to tuck it away and try to go himself. He's tripped up in the backfield. Bronco Soretti, a piece of him, and a flag on the play.
A little holding, you think?
Yeah, it was thrown by the side, Judge, so that's a good indication. They're going to get defensive holding.
Holding against Loyola. So maybe that's why Brooks couldn't find anybody open.
Well, when you have fast receivers, one of the strategies for a defensive coordinator is to roll up and press the receivers. That time, one of the corners got caught for holding.
Steve Grady, the head coach for Loyola and the defensive coordinator, getting an explanation.
So you can press them, you just can't tackle them when they're coming out, right?
That's right. Hey, that's one way to neutralize the speed.
So another set of downs. First down and 10 at the 27 now for Brandon Brooks. It's not a pretty drive, but so far it's working. Another flag, and this one's going to come back probably on a hold. He flicks it to Mercedes Lewis. He's going to score a touchdown, and he's going to pay for it. He gets absolutely hammered by Matt Ware. There's a flag all the way back at the 22.
Now, did we already run the tape for plays of the year?
Because
that was one of the hits of the year.
You're going to have holding on Herschel Dennis here.
This play was erased before it happened, but watch Mercedes Lewis. You watch and listen. Here comes Ware.
Now, Mercedes Lewis, 6'6", 225. And Matt Ware came over and laid a wicked hit on him.
And Matt Ware is one of the nicest kids. You walk up to Matt Ware any time of day, and he's got a big grin on his face. He's just a nice kid, but between the lines, different story.
Yeah, well, I'd be happy, too, if I could lay the wood like that guy.
Mercedes Lewis says, you know, in basketball, I get 2 shots for that.
and it came back. That's another thing. Paid the price and didn't even get the touchdown.
Well, Poly's ready to go, but the officials aren't. They haven't marked it off yet. They're still talking to Jordan Trott and Steve Grady, and now they're going to decide what they want to do.
Yeah, well, there were 2 infractions on that play, Jim. You had the holding penalty, but you also had Brandon Brooks throwing the ball beyond the line of scrimmage. So that's what Steve Grady is talking about. He was trying to see if he can get the penalty and a loss of down.
Yeah, he was way downfield. He was probably 4 or 5 yards past the line of scrimmage. A wild play, and it's going to cost Long Beach Poly a lot.
Jim, how about Steve Grady? 25 years, coaching at his alma mater, 233 victories.
Now, both of these guys, of course, went to their schools. Jerry Jaso, a Poly grad. He played football and baseball at Long Beach Poly, then went on to UCLA. And Steve Grady from Loyola went to USC and played football.
Never left the neighborhood, did he?
Well, 8 penalties already, and Long Beach Poly has been backed up 45 yards, and another one right here.
That's 9 penalties.
All right, what's going on? What's the problem?
You know what? I'm mystified by this because in the last game of the season, this is the last thing that you think would happen. I mean, you've got everything pulled together. You've been playing together all season long, and you know, I mean, how do you explain it? You can't. This should not be happening.
Well, I can tell you for Long Beach Poly, they had this problem in their quarterfinal game against St. Paul. They got hit with a ton of penalties. They kept that game close. They ended up winning by 21, but that game should have been a blowout, and they actually kept St. Paul in the game with penalties such as these.
Brandon Brooks walks to the line of scrimmage. It's still first down, but now it's first down and 31 yards. Brooks going down the sideline again for Willis. This worked a minute ago. Now, he gets deep again, but again, Brooks just lays it a little too far.
Yeah, Jim, Mike Willis can flat out fly, okay? He runs 4.3. And I had a chance to talk to the coaches. I said, hey, coach, you know, I think I might be able to get him. He's always running 4.3. He said, no, he runs a legitimate 4.3. So that's why they're taking their shots deep with Willis.
Good ball by Brooks, and Willis flying, but you can see about a step short. Beah Carlos on the coverage, and Beah Carlos was the same guy that Willis beat for that apparent touchdown before when he was out of bounds, so he's let him get behind him twice. So Pauly knows it's there if they want to tap into it again, but it goes incomplete, 2nd and 31. Brooks looks to the left, incomplete. They try to go to Candler on a little inside screen, incomplete. This is about as bad as I've seen Pauly's offense look all year long, and you said it before, JJ, you got to give some credit to the Loyola defense.
Yeah, give credit to that defense, but this Long Beach Poly offense right now, Jim, is just flat out of sync. They are not running their typical offense. They are using a run-first, pass-second offense. Right now, Loyola has stopped the run and forcing them to pass first.
Mike, they have all those big guys up front. Where's the run? Why not run the ball?
Well, I am surprised that they have abandoned the run because they were so successful with it last week. I think they have a physical edge there. I would anticipate them going back to that in the second half.
3rd down and 31, and you think maybe they just throw it deep? No, they're going to give it to Dennis. Dennis breaking a couple of tackles. He'll make it interesting. Matt Ware gets Dennis outside the 20-yard line. He needs to get to about the 17 for a 1st down. And so now it's going to be 4th down, but it's going to be 4th down and short, 26 yards. So it'll be 4th down and about 5.
Okay, that's what we're talking about. Let's run this football. I mean, Herschel Dennis is your lead horse in this team. And I'm thinking 1st down, 2nd down, whatever. I don't care if it's 30 yards to go. Give this guy, because obviously you look at him, he's the kind of guy that's not going to be arm tackled. And if you don't come up and wrap him up, you're going to be in trouble.
Matt Ware is being asked to do a lot of things. Might have saved a touchdown right there. Herschel Dennis, new school record, of course, at Long Beach Poly. Came in with 1,928 yards. Should go over 2,000 tonight if he gets a couple more runs like that. Timeout on the field, 1:33 to play in the 1st half. So still plenty of time for Jerry Jaso and the Jackrabbits. But you know, this is the surprising thing. You and I were there last week. We saw the Esperanza game. Coming in, we figured that they would just hand the ball to Herschel Dennis. We were talking upwards of 30 carries tonight.
And when you get a running back that knows now that he can do that, and when you get an offensive line and a tight end, I mean, definitely include Mercedes Lewis in that, when they know that they can do that, I think that they want to do that. They want to establish that, and it just makes everything else so much easier. If you can run the football, obviously you're going to hold the linebackers on some play fakes. And if you can really run, then you're going to have to bring up a safety to try to help out, and it just makes everything easier that you try to do on offense.
Well, don't forget, coming up at the half, we'll check in with the regional sports report. Of course, we'll take a look back at the plays of the year, and it's been a great season, our 4th high school football in Southern California on Fox Sports Net 2. 4th down and 6. Pauly goes. Play action. Brandon Brooks. Flush to his left. Again, throws to the end zone. Intercepted by Ware. Now he's the best athlete in the state, JJ, and he just keeps showing why.
Now, Jim, we had a chance from up here to see how far Matt Ware, how much ground he had to cover to come across and make that interception. That's just truly a phenomenal play by Matt Ware. Now he'll have to put on his offensive helmet, but you see him in the middle of the field, the play fake, roll right, you see him going to the right, and now the reaction, he comes back and actually intercepts this ball. Best athlete in the state. That is the reason why.
Well, I mean, he doesn't give up on it. He keeps his eyes on the quarterback, comes over, and the ball hangs up there for a while.
And you figure he is a quarterback, so he can read quarterbacks pretty well. Ball run out.
Well, Mike, you know this. When you draw that play up, though, you don't anticipate the free safety even being involved. I mean, that play is thrown in the corner of the end zone on the sideline. Matt Ware, unbelievable.
No, because you saw the receiver running the slant from the left side, and he went there first, but I think that Matt Ware, obviously, as Jim said, stuck with the quarterback and is thinking like a quarterback back there from the safety position.
Kabulich and Daniels to the right, Rice to the left, along with Donnie Clark. Ware keeping himself. Now, let's be honest, at this point, Loyola probably is just going to run the clock out. If you would have walked up to Steve Grady a couple of hours ago and said, Coach, you can go into the locker room right now, it's tied, it's halftime, will you take it? I bet he would.
Oh, I think so. I think the danger is if Pauly gets on a roll, the game can get out of hand. We've seen those type of things happen. But doesn't really surprise me. I mean, you were thinking this week, and we were all thinking this, Steve Grady's going to find a way to get it done.
Yeah, and I think that was a key for his team tonight. Not only I think they had to prove to themselves that they can handle this Long Beach Poly team. Right. They've done that. They go in with the momentum at halftime.
Rice knocked down right at the line of scrimmage before he even got going. Manuel Wright again. Manuel Wright is 6'6", just maybe a biscuit under 300. That should do it for the first half. Well, 1 second still remaining. They call a timeout. Poly's going to call a timeout. And it's an interesting timeout because it's 4th down for Loyola, so you make them snap the ball, but realistically, all you have to do is take a knee and the half is over.
Yeah, you know, I think that's one of those things when maybe a player's not thinking about it. He goes, I'm supposed to call a timeout. But the coach go, look, let's just go in.
Well, the good thing it gives us some more time to talk. What do you think is going on the Long Beach Poly sideline right now? Yeah, first they had the run going, then they abandoned it, went to the pass, then they go back to Herschel Dennis. He gets a nice gainer. Second half, you expect to see more of the run?
Well, I think you got to go back to the run, but I tell you, if you're Long Beach Poly right now, there is a feeling of concern because you didn't expect to be in this situation. You have not been in this situation all year. You have not gone into the half behind or trailing a team or even with a team all year long. So they have to be questioning themselves, you know, how good is this Loyola team?
Well, we talked about the Loyola defense already. The Poly defense having a pretty good night, too.
Well, you know, you look at the Poly defense, and they're averaging under a touchdown a game that they have given up. And I think the key is because of their front. But, you know, let's not get too caught up in that. They've got a secondary that's played extremely well tonight.
1 second, and it's 4th down. So Ware will just take the snap and take a knee, and that is it for the first half. So it's 0-0, but a lot went on between the 20s, and Matt Ware keeping Long Beach Poly off the scoreboard with a big interception in the back of the end zone. And JJ, you think that gives them the momentum going in?
Well, I definitely do. I think that, you know, coming into this game, as we talked about before, Steve Grady could have went in at the half tied with Loyola. He would take that and have his team rally. Remember, this Loyola team has been battle tested. They've been in some tough games this year where Long Beach Poly hasn't.
I think when you think of the game against Eisenhower Rialto and the fact that they had to go to overtime, that's talking about building character. You know, the one loss to Mater Dei was right at the last second. So this is a team that's very close to being undefeated as well. And when you were I was on the campus of Loyola High School this week, you know, they had a quiet confidence about them, and they weren't buying anything. If anything, I think Steve Grady was using the fact that everybody was talking up Poly as a motivational tool for the Cubs.
Now, Steve Grady, the head coach and the defensive coordinator for Loyola, so he's got to be happy because he's got a shutout on his hands. He's standing by with Brian Curtis.
Thanks a lot, Jim. And, Coach, I don't think anybody expected this to be a 0-0 ball game by halftime.
Well, both defenses are playing pretty good. I mean, I've got to hand it to our defense. We've been a couple of times when we haven't broken yet, but our offense is going to have to get something going, or our defense is just going to tire out. I mean, they're on the field every play. I don't think we have a first down. So offensively, we knew they had a tough defense, but we got to get something going.
What do you need to tell the guys at half, and what do you need to change for the second half to get that offense going?
We just got to block with a little bit more intensity and, you know, just try to say that you can do it. You can't get discouraged. We got to stay with what we've done. You know, it's down to 24 minutes. It's no longer 48. You know, as much as they've been up and down the field a little bit, they haven't scored, so it's still 0-0. So we still are in this game.
Well, good luck in the second half.
Thank you very much.
Jim, back to you.
Yeah, he's right. 13 weeks of high school football, and it all comes down to 2 quarters. Herschel Dennis, the big name, coming in, nearing 2,000 yards so far in the first half. Just 54 yards as the Loyola defense has been very tough, especially the big guy in the backfield, Matt Ware.
When the sun goes down, lovers come out to rock.
One more night, just one more night.
Now set your clock for Midnight Rock. 30 passionate power ballads from TV Music for You.
Midnight Rock brings you 2 albums of great hits. Plus, order now with your credit card and get a free bonus album. Midnight Rock on 2 cassettes or 2 CDs. And remember, use your credit card and get a 3rd album free. Call this toll-free number now to order Midnight Rock. 2 cassettes, $21.99, 2 CDs, $26.99, plus $5.50 for shipping and handling. Have your credit card ready and call now.
This is a special update from your Fox Sports Regional News Desk.
Hi again, everybody. I'm Barry LeBrock for your Southern California Regional Sports Report. Get you back out to Edison Field for the second half in just a minute. First, though, a look at the headlines in Southern California, starting with the Trojans. Most people off work this Saturday, but not those trying to chase down the scoop on the USC coaching situation. No news yet today from Baltimore, where Chargers owner Dean Spanos was scheduled to meet with Mike Riley. Riley, of course, has garnered interest from the Trojans. More on the situation and any developments coming up at 11. The Lakers took the day off from the court, but they were out in force in the community. Players, coaches, and the Laker girls hosted 2 different events for underprivileged children. The highlight, of course, was Shaka-Claus. The events give players a chance to give back to the community.
True meaning of Christmas season, holiday season is sharing, giving, not so much the gifts, but your time, your love, the energy.
Just having a good time being around the kids. See them having a good time and enjoying themselves and asking for calendars and trucks and autographs and things like that.
I think I spent $500,000 worth on toys. I brought snow down from the mountain once again. And, I just want to put a smile on kids' faces and just tell them to hang in there, and hopefully all the kids got what they want.
Great to see the guys out in the community like that. And coming up tonight on your 11 p.m. Regional Sports Report, we have complete SoCal hoops coverage. That includes USC, Pepperdine, and Loyola. Plus, we'll have the absolute latest on the search for a new Trojans head coach. If it happens, we'll bring you the information. We go to Dallas for day 2 of the winter baseball meetings to break down the developments for the Dodgers and the Angels, see what they have come up with there. Plus, we are at the scene for complete post-game coverage of the game you're watching right now. That's all tonight at 11 p.m. on your Regional Sports Report. As always, right here on Fox Sports Net, I'm Barry LeBrock. We will see you tonight at 11 o'clock.
Don't look. Just listen.
95.5 KLOS. Classic rock that really rocks.
Never, never let
Whoa, that was good. Let's do it again.
95.5 KLOS. Classic rock that really rocks.
L&S Carpet takes pride in every job we do. We offer professional installation and a knowledgeable sales staff. L&S gives you the service you deserve for the prices you can afford. And to top it off, we have the largest selection of carpet in Southern California. We carry the best in name brand carpets that look great and are durable like Anso Total Comfort Nylon. The peace of mind technology that's downright comfortable. Don't wait for that special offer to buy new carpet. Come to L&S Carpet, where prices are low every day. Call us for a location near you.
just a bit of magic. Oh, you gotta see it. So like the unexpected, perfectly perfected. Ahead of your head, I said. Our stuff is what dreams are made.
Definition Television, made possible by Panasonic, just slightly ahead of our time.
Oh, just a bit of magic.
Welcome back to Edison Field in Anaheim for the Division I High School Football Championships. We have a 0-0 tie, surprisingly, at halftime between Long Beach Poly and Loyola. You know, all season long, Fox Sports Net has brought you the high school game of the week. We've been there since the first kickoff in September. We've seen some incredible games and some unbelievable moments. So as an early holiday present to you, we bring you Fox Sports Net High School Plays of the Year.
Lopez at the 30. Lopez, 10, touchdown, full high.
Sharps is smart, 4.9. Here he goes again. Shinui shedding tackles and impressing everybody. Shinui! Oh, stop it! Antonio Holder makes the catch and pays for it.
The offensive line would like to run it. Here's a great defensive play.
He wants another one. Poston left side. Poston breaks the tackle. Daryl Poston going to get the end zone. Touchdown Edison.
They keep the back in to do just that. Matter over the middle. Caught on the deflection.
A little trickery. Contos going to throw this football. And Contos has Spears. Spears with a catch to the 13-yard line. The home run right away. Marquis White throwing it downfield, has Hawkins. Touchdown, Long Beach Poly. They're going to put the ball in the air the first time. Going deep, got a man. It's Marshall, and Marshall on the step. Richard Marshall, and he's gone on the first play from scrimmage. DeAndre Scott leaving. DeAndre Scott. Oh, and DeAndre Scott is gone. Nobody's going to catch him. Touchdown, St. Paul. Stevens is going to handle it. Stevens over the way.
Burrell is there to get it. Now, Shinui sidesteps 1, 2, breaks the tackle. Shinui looking on, touchdown. See if he can get 10. He's got more than that. Shinui, got to make one move and he's in. And touchdown, Aztecs, Tevy Shinui.
Score line, Contos. Last time he touched it, he went 50 yards for a touchdown, and he's going to score on back-to-back carries. He's going deep down the middle. Kavulich. That ball intercepted by McCutcheon. Shara, as his offensive line holds him up, lays one out. Deep goes for Mitchell. And circus catch.
Well, we could add some of the plays from our game's first half, certainly, to that list. Well, when we come back, we'll throw it back up to Jim, JJ, and Mike Lamb for analysis and a look at the second half. You are watching the Division I Football Championships on Fox Sports Net 2.
Taco Bell Product Development.
Yeah. Have you come up with any burritos as big as Del Taco's Macho Burritos? Macho beef, combo, or chicken. Burritos so big they have to be wrapped in a 14-inch tortilla.
Nope, no burritos that big.
My burrito's bigger than yours.
Did you just try to hang up on me? Still here. There should be a red button.
There's 2 red buttons.
Try the one on the left.
My burrito's bigger than yours.
Still here.
Thursdays get vertical with OLN's exclusive coverage of FIS World Cup skiing.
He's Brad, he's Bull, he's Bodie Miller of the USA.
U.S. skate runner Bodie Miller hit the big time in '99 with 4 top 10 finishes. Then last year, his up-and-coming career suddenly cooled down. Now, racing's new kid on the block has learned from the past and is picking up speed toward a brilliant future. FIS World Cup skiing on Vertical Thursdays, 8 p.m., only on the Outdoor Life Network. Sunday night fights on Fox Sports Net. Pound for pound, the best fighters in the world go toe-to-toe.
Keep him up.
Witness boxing fury from a ringside seat. Sunday Night Fights on Fox Sports.
Take a look at the value that L&S Carpet has on thousands of remnants. You can choose from a warehouse full of styles, colors, and textures. All of them are priced to fit your budget. L&S carries brand names like Anso Total Comfort Nylon, the peace of mind technology that's downright comfortable. There really isn't anyone who can beat the selection and prices of L&S Carpet. L&S Carpet, affordable prices, great selection, and thousands of remnants. Call for a location near you.
Santa gets all his best stuff from Good Guys, especially the hottest products from Mitsubishi. For a limited time, Mitsubishi and Good Guys are offering no interest financing, nothing down, and no payments for 12 months on every Mitsubishi product. Big screen TVs start as low as $1,499. Thrill to the newest widescreen high-definition Mitsubishi home theater systems with nothing down, no interest, and no payments for 12 months. Good Guys delivers free and guarantees your satisfaction.
I love these guys.
Better stuff, fiercely competitive prices, Good Guys.
Welcome back to Edison Field in Anaheim on Fox Sports Net 2. The Division I CIF Football Championship, no score at the half, and not a big surprise because two of the best defenses in Southern California. Welcome back, Jim Watson, John Jackson, and Mike Lamb, also known as the Untouchables. 3 dark suits. How about that? We'll do your taxes. Let's talk a little bit about Matt Ware. First half, great defensively, but let's talk offensive side of the ball first. Here's a guy, what, 1 for 5 through the air, -7 yards rushing. What's going on?
Yeah, well, you know, in Matt Ware's case, he has done everything that he could so far in the first half, but he has no help from the supporting cast, you know. That is what has done for them this year. Raphael Rice has been very effective, and so Matt is going to need some help from the guys around him offensively, but defensively, he's been the man. He's done everything for them. He's come up with big interceptions, and he's made some tremendous hits.
Yeah, his interception stopped a Long Beach Poly threat at the end of the half. Mike Lamb on the other side of the ball for Herschel Dennis. We knew about him coming in. He was nearing 2,000 yards. They finally gave him the ball, and he finally got some space, but only 54 yards in the first 2 quarters.
Yeah, I think 54 yards is just an indication of what's probably to come, because when you've got a guy like that, you just got to utilize him. And, you know, when you're not doing well with the passing game, you can always go back to what's basic. And a basic thing is smash mouth football. Get your big guys beating up their big guys. And I think Steve Grady had a great point. He said, you know, we can't leave our defense out there like that because they're going to wear it down. Conversely, Jerry Jason was thinking to himself, well, let's wear those guys down and let's win that football game that way.
JJ, what a surprise. An ex-lineman wants to play smash mouth football, huh? What a shocker.
Oh, come on, go to the skill position.
No score in the first half, but we do have highlights for you because defenses highlights sometimes. That's what we saw a lot of in the first half. Poly couldn't move the ball, so Javier Torres came on to kick a short field goal, pushed it wide right. Brandon Brooks on in relief of Marquis White, tries to go to Mike Willis. He was out of bounds. No touchdown. It was a 4th down, so it went over to Loyola. Defensively for Loyola, they've had a couple of stars. Soretti off the corner, getting to Marquis White early in the game, and then late in the half, it was Matt Ware. Read and reacts. Best athlete in the state goes up and gets the football to turn Poly away again. You take a look at the numbers from the first 2 quarters.
The big glaring number is no first downs for Loyola. That has been huge. That's been the theme of this game is Loyola does nothing offensively, only 12 yards. Long Beach Poly, conversely, 148.
Well, I think that's very lopsided, and it's surprising that the time of possession is not more in the favor of Long Beach Poly, but totally ineffective is what you think of when you're thinking of Long Beach, or when you're thinking of Loyola, rather. Long Beach Poly, conversely, they just got to find a way to get it in the end zone.
So how are they going to do it, second half?
You know, I think they do what we talked about. I think that they are going to pound away. I think they are going to try to utilize Herschel Dennis, maybe go to 1 quarterback. I think when you're in a situation like this, go back to the basics, get to your fundamentals, and I think that is, like we like to say, Jimmy, smash mouth football.
All right, JJ, what about you on the other side? Matt Ware's doing it all, but he needs some help. Bo Renault, maybe Raphael Rice, maybe Greg Kavulich.
Yeah, Rice and Renault have got to get started in the second half. They have to establish some semblance of a running game. That's what got them to this championship game, is that running game. They have to go back to it and rely on that defense to be just as good as they were in the first half.
Defense has been the key word. That has been the theme and the backdrop through the first half of this, the CIF Division I Championship. The 2 best teams in Southern California, and it's going to come down to 24 minutes of football, or maybe more. We come back to Anaheim on Fox Sports Net.
I'm Jim Rome. Next week on The Last Word, we'll break down Mario Lemieux's surprising return to the NHL. Believe it or not, I found somebody who thinks that's actually a bad idea. Plus, I'll be joined by controversial Dallas Mavericks owner Mark Cuban. The Last Word, 6:30 and 11:30 on Fox Sports Net.
You gotta have hope. You gotta have hope. Without hope, life is meaningless. Without hope, life is meaning less and less. You gotta have hope. You gotta have hope. You gotta have hope. You gotta have...
Two of the NBA's rising stars to battle. Lamar Odom powers the Clippers. Tracy McGrady electrifies the Magic. Monday at 7 on Fox Sports Net 2.
Every day, AmeriDebt helps more people with money problems. People like Tom Baker.
My credit card debt was outrageous. Then I called AmeriDebt. They contacted my creditors and got my payments almost cut in half. Now I have only one small monthly bill.
AmeriDebt is a nonprofit organization that offers free consultations to consumers seeking to eliminate their debt. People like the Shaws.
Every month I pay our credit card bills, but the balances never seem to get smaller.
AmeriDebt got our interest rates reduced, and now the balances are dropping dramatically.
And what's even more amazing is our payments are less than before.
Call 1-800-954-8558. Regardless of your credit, in minutes, join the thousands of people who have turned their financial lives around. People like Maria Rinaldi.
Before I called AmeriDebt, the creditors were calling every day. I thought bankruptcy was the only way out. Now I'm debt-free, and my credit rating has been restored.
Call 1-800-954-8558. 1-800-954-8558. AmeriDebt, helping America get out of debt.
Long Beach Poly looking to pull a rabbit out of their hat for the second half and get some points. Either one of these teams. I'm sorry, Mike, you didn't like that?
No, I love that.
No score in the first half of this one, but there were plenty of scoring last night in the first round of the CIF Finals. Take a look at some other divisions. Division 2, Chino and Upland wins that one 26-10. The game you saw right here on Fox Sports Net 2. Hart beating Miracosta. Newport and Irvine, an all-Orange County final in Division 6. Terry Hennigan, a perfect season for the Vaqueros. They win it. South Hills beats La Habra 19-14. Paso Robles 43-40 over Inglewood in Division 10. And, of course, many games going on tonight around the rest of Southern California. Banning and Carson, the city championship. Banning beats Carson. How long does that rivalry go back? And Gardena over Roosevelt 31-7. Let's get down to Brian Curtis standing by with Jerry Jaso.
Thanks a lot, Jim. And, Coach, it's 0-0 at halftime. The defense is playing well, but you guys are a high-powered offense that hasn't gotten kick-started yet.
Yeah, we're just shooting ourselves in the foot, Brian. We had a touchdown pass down here that we stepped out of bounds on, and we had 2 penalties on one play, and, you know, we're just misfiring, and we need to just clean up our act and stay with our game plan, and I think we're going to be fine. I don't think we need to change too much. I think we need to do what we do best, which is stay with our game.
You made the switch at quarterback. Are you going to stick with that in the second half, and have you made any other changes?
No, we're just going to reevaluate as it goes. You know, Brandon's played most of the year. Marquis' been the guy all year, and Brandon's played also. But Brandon came in and threw the ball pretty cleanly there for us, so we're going to give him another shot here.
You seem to be stopping the running game for Loyola well. Was that something you guys wanted to focus on?
Well, that's what they do best, and frankly, that's what we do best on defense.
Good. Well, good luck in the second half,
okay,
Coach.
Thanks, Brian.
Jim, I would say it's a barn burner, but you told me yesterday I couldn't use that, so it's a close one.
It is a close one. It can't get any closer than 0-0. And Mike, Steve Grady going out, Jerry Jaso coming back. Both of them said, we're going to stay with the game plan. What's that mean?
Well, I think what the game plan is for both of these guys, defensively, you want to try to stuff the run. Offensively, you want to try to use the run to set up the pass. And to this point, I think Paulie has been able to do that. I mean, it's just, you know, you're missing by that much. It's close, but it just hasn't come to fruition.
Yeah, I think Coach Jaso hit it right on the head. They are shooting themselves in the foot. They do have 9 first downs and actually respectable yardage in the first half, but they need to go ahead and finish it off. They got to score in the red zone. They got to convert some of those field goals, especially if they get short chip shots.
You know, we know we have a big audience watching this game. There's a lot of interest all over Southern California, but there's one special welcome we want to send out to Father John Brady, a Loyola grad from back in the 40s, JJ. He taught at the school in the 60s all the way through the 80s, a couple of decades. He's an avid football fan. He's at home watching, and he's under the weather. We want to send special welcome to Father John Brady, who's watching at home and cheering on his Cubs and Matt Blair. And I'm sure there's polygrads all over Southern California as well.
But it can't hurt to say hi to the father.
You got a priest on your side. You can always, Modern Day always made it to the final, didn't they? Yeah, Long Beach Poly gathered around their coaching staff on the side, and what a program this has been over the last couple of years. Long Beach Poly, JJ, if you look at the national picture, of course, De La Salle, #1 in the nation. They'll win the national championship again. Bob Ladouceur and the Spartans, 113 straight victories. But is there another program in the country that compares to Long Beach Poly?
Well, I think that those two programs are the best, not only in California, I think the best in the country. You know, when you have De La Salle that's put together a remarkable streak, and they've come down to Southern California and beat some Southern California teams, so that cannot be said anymore. And then this Long Beach Poly team with this defense, I mean, come on, Mike, this is an unstoppable, unbeatable defense.
You know, I have no problem putting Poly, De La Salle, and Jenks together as the top three, and, you know, we can talk about any team nationally.
Yeah, Jenks from Oklahoma. Carrington and Herschel Dennis are back. It's Rory Carrington finding his way behind the wedge out to about the 25-yard line. Now, this is what Poly did in the first half. They had the ball 4 times. A punt, a missed field goal by Javier Torres. Lost it on downs, and then Matt Ware's interception in the corner of the end zone right before the break.
And it seems like it's kind of like when you're out of tempo in golf. You know, it's like you put one shot together, then your next shot's a bad one, and you've got to try to recover from that. That's why I honestly think the smart thing to do is to come out, pound the ball. It's simple. Simplify what you're trying to do.
Yeah, it's interesting. He brings up the word frustration, then immediately goes to golf.
You've seen me golf.
Yeah, you do. Short gainer, Dennis. Well, we said that Long Beach Poly should go back to the ground. That's what Loyola does best. So it's strength against strength right here. Who do you give the edge to?
Well, you know, if you're going to talk strength about strength, you're going to think Poly, obviously. But when you look at some of the linemen that Loyola has, you know, we talked to the Poly coaches, and they were very impressed with Justin Dushnea and Keith Ornelius, who's a guy that's going to Cal. These are major guys, but they don't have the numbers of those guys like Poly.
By the way, Marquis White is back in at quarterback for Long Beach Poly. Marquis White and Brandon Brooks have been splitting time not only tonight but during the year, and Marquis White, the senior, has been getting the majority of the time. But it was not a big surprise to see Brandon Brooks in the first half, JJ.
Yeah, these quarterbacks shared time, and the reason being is Marquis White actually fractured his fibula or tibia in the fall back in May, so he missed from May all the way to August. He had to have surgery, so when they started the season, they started on a quarterback rotation, and they've continued it all the way to the championship.
They do it here. Brandon Brooks is back in. He gets that ball batted back in his face. Looked like Nathan Green, the defensive end, 6'4", and Brandon Brooks is only 5'10".
You know, it's just a little thing, but you want to chop that guy. You know, when he's coming on the rush like that, you want to give your quarterback a shot. And you look at Brandon Brooks, a tall guy, can see over things, and or Marquis White, rather, and Brandon Brooks not as tall.
Now, Poly's going to have to punt, and how little does Poly punt? Well, so little that there was nobody back to punt. There was no punter on the field.
But, Jim, on that last play, you give Nathan Green some credit. He did a nice job of penetrating in the backfield, but reading the quarterback. You know, a lot of times defensive linemen are always worried about the sack, so they don't pay attention to the quarterback. Right. He recognized the short 3-step drop. He got his hands up and knocked that ball down.
Yeah, sometimes, you know, you're selling out there, and it's better off for you to break down and figure out what the trajectory of the ball is going to be. And, you know, it's a valid point, John.
Well, let's keep in mind, they just burned a timeout here, Long Beach Poly, and it was really a mental error. It's 4th down and 6 at your own end. And everybody else was ready to punt. Javier Torres, you know, I don't want to blame the kid, but he wasn't on the field. He is the punter. A little late in getting out there, so they had to burn a timeout. We'll have to see if that comes into play later in the game. You know, it's tied. It's the CIF final. You might want to keep your timeouts.
See if Javier is going to ride home or walk home.
Get a 29-yard punt in the first half. Kicks this one off the side of his foot, and it backs up. And it's going to die at the 41-yard line of Long Beach Poly. Now, this is what Loyola did in the first half. They had the ball 6 times. 4 of those ended in punts. They lost it once on downs, and then at the end of the half, they just took a knee. The punt goes for just 13 yards, and so Loyola now, JJ, you said they had the momentum going into the locker room. Well, Steve Grady's got to figure they got even more now after that stop and a short punt.
Yeah, they'll enjoy their best field position of the night. They're on the Long Beach Poly half of the 50.
And Ware's going to throw it right out in the flat to Rice. Rice gets a block, and Rice has some room. That's about the best that Loyola's offense has produced all night long.
But Jim, you talk about adjustments made at halftime. Well, you see the thing the Loyola did is they said, look, we got to get the ball to our best players. We got to get it to them in space. So they go and they split Raphael Rice out wide, run a little receiver screen, and all that does is match him up one-on-one with the safety and allow him to make a big play.
JD, how about the block by 87 Lance Martin right here coming in to make a play?
Well, see, you know the Loyola receivers have been used to that all year. This is a running team. Not many catches for the receivers, so they can block downfield.
It's first down all the way to the 27-yard line of Long Beach Poly. They go from the eye, and they go back to Rice on the ground. Right side, he's inside the 25, down to about the 22-yard line. You know, the kind of game, Mike, that Loyola wanted to happen, a short game and a tight game.
You know, I think that you've got to like how they've changed it up. And here's Marvin Simmons. He's a guy that's impressed me. He has a motor that runs and runs and runs. Not too many guys can come underneath and still make the play. Usually you run yourself out of the play, but not Marvin Simmons.
Yeah, Mike, he shot that gap from the weak side, came all the way around the backside to make that tackle.
Yeah.
Marvin Simmons' brother Melvin, of course, plays at Washington State, was a star here before. They fake, Ware's going to keep it. Gets out of the tackle of Simmons. And down to the 17-yard line. Should be enough for a first down.
Well, that's all Matt Ware, too. I mean, that's not a lot of area to run in, and Matt Ware just does it, kind of gets it down there. But, you know, this is not your average quarterback. And, you know, we've talked about how he's been blowing people up. I'm very impressed with Matt Ware tonight, and not just his athletic ability, pretty tenacious football player.
Yeah, but, Mike, they lift Matt Ware at 6'4", 200, and I'll tell you, the way he hits and the way he picks up extra yardage after the initial hit, there's no way he weighs 200. He had a little bit extra to eat at that banquet earlier in the week, Jim.
He's a pure athlete. Just a great kid, too. We love watching this guy play. Hands off to Rice. And Rice is wrapped up early and dragged down. Manuel Wright again is doing a great job up front for Long Beach Poly. It's a guy who deflected 2 passes against Esperanza last week. 2 sports star, of course, mentioned that he plays basketball, and he's playing some big-time football tonight.
Yeah, he does everything on the front for Long Beach Poly. He leads them in sacks on the season with 6. He's already picked up some tonight, and he also leads in hurries. That's getting in the quarterback's face, forcing them to get rid of the ball before they want to.
On second down and 12, he got him for a 2-yard loss back to the 19. We go counter, and it's Wright again. 2 in a row for Manuel Wright. He says something right into the ear hole of Matt Ware. I think he said, "It's me again."
You know, yeah. I cannot wait till this guy fills out. You know, he's a junior lineman, and he is just wreaking havoc. And he doesn't buy on the counter fake. He's looking at the quarterback the whole way, and it's shocking to me. Look at him. Look at that guy. That's a junior.
6'6", 270.
Oh, he's bigger than that. He's 290, that guy. And now it's third down and 16. Now the other 10 can sit down. Just leave Manuel out there by himself. He's doing it all right now. They fake the pitch. And Tago, well, he had a piece of Ware, but it was enough to slow him down. And here comes the rest of the Poly D. But Tago made the play on the corner. And there's Wright again in the pile.
Well, you look at Poly. I mean, they are just shooting the gaps right now. I mean, they're a team that in the past has been able to read and react with their defensive line, but right now they're just filling the gaps and they're getting penetration. And when that starts to happen, you know, it really breaks down for you offensively when you're trying to attack those guys.
Now it's going to be fourth down for Loyola, so they bring in Nathan Oakes, and this is a guy with a great foot. He beat Eisenhower last week with a 37-yard field goal in overtime. He's 5 of 6, and all of those outside of 30 yards. This is a 46-yard field goal. That is true, and it's good. 46 yards for Nathan Oakes.
Oh, boy.
I asked him before the game, if it comes down to you, do you want it? He said, give it to me.
I'm Jim Rome. Next week on The Last Word, we'll break down Mario Lemieux's surprising return to the NHL. Believe it or not, I found somebody who thinks that's actually a bad idea. Plus, I'll be joined by controversial Dallas Mavericks owner Mark Cuban. The Last Word, 6:30 and 11:30 on Fox Sports Net.
You gotta have hope. You gotta have hope. Without hope,
stars to battle. Lamar Odom powers the Clippers. Tracy McGrady electrifies the Magic. Monday at 7 on Fox Sports Net 2.
Well, the game is being played on a baseball field, so I guess it's somewhat ironic that it's 3-0. Nathan Oakes with a 46-yard field goal.
Obviously a National League game. I just, when I'm watching the Poly defense, and they're growing in their confidence, and were it not for a lot of miscues by Poly, it would still be a 0-0 game. But you've got to credit Loyola. The fact of the matter is, they had an opportunity there, and they had a big-time kicker. And, that's a nice luxury to have, a guy that can come up like Oakes, a guy that has won a game for you before.
Right, you're exactly right, Mike. And the thing is, they've been in this situation before. They've been battle-tested earlier this season.
Now, Willis is back deep this time. We hadn't seen him before, and he has the football. Mike Willis. Willis breaks the tackle. Willis trying to get to the sideline. Here comes Oakes, the kicker. Well, we talked about the size, the speed, and the talent of all of these people, and so far the biggest hero is the 5'9", 150-pound kicker. 28 yards on the return. Just a reminder, tomorrow over on Fox Sports Net, NFL This Morning starts 7 in the morning. Goes 2 full hours. Don't miss host Chris Myers, the Wild Bunch. They'll give you their insight. NFL games, those latest news around the league. It's NFL This Morning beginning at 7 a.m. over on Fox Sports Net. Get up early and check it out. 7 a.m., JJ, with the baby. You're getting up about 5:15 these days, aren't you?
I will be up.
There's nothing like brunch with Bob Golick and Billy Ray Smith.
Poly, let's see if that last field goal by Loyola wakes up the sleepwalking Poly offense. I can't remember, JJ. We've been doing games for 4 years. Have we ever seen Poly get shut out?
No, not even close to it. A matter of fact, that was the thing I thought tonight is Loyola's going to have to find a way to try to outscore this Poly offense, but the defense has the clamps on them. Herschel Dennis only 62 yards. The biggest thing, though, 3.9-yard average. Way down from his 9.2 for the season.
Well, I think the key number there was 16 carries. I think that he should be double that at this point.
Herschel Dennis now just 10 yards short of 2,000, and they were going to give him the football there, but another flag, and I think it's on the Poly offense again.
You know what was interesting, Jim? We talked to Herschel Dennis before the game, and we talked about the fact that he had some words for his teammates because he didn't feel as though they were focused, and obviously he is, but there have been some problems, and you got to say it. Maybe Poly isn't as focused this week as they were last week because they dominated Esperanza in the second half last week.
Yeah, a lot more spirit on that club last week, and Herschel Dennis, you saw him in the huddle shaking his head. Jerry Jaso's trying to figure things out. Jerry Jaso, not an emotional coach. He's been doing this a long time. He's just trying to figure out what's wrong with his team right now. Herschel Dennis. You give it to the guy who wants it, and he fumbles it. Maybe he doesn't want it that bad. He turns it back over to Loyola. Now a pile up, and the official's going to pull them apart. Are they going to give it back to Poly? And it looks like Dante Candler on the bottom of it came out with it.
Clean living, that's the key, Jim.
How did Candler get to this football?
Well, it's hustle on his part, and you got to credit a receiver because most times you're thinking about your block or maybe I'm out of it, but then the ball pops loose here, and Candler just, does a, he's fighting underneath there. You got to like that.
Now, Kavulich had it for Loyola, and Dante Candler reached underneath and pulled the pig underneath him.
Yeah, just incredible that Kavulich did come up with that fumble recovery. He actually had the ball in his stomach and let it go. That would have been another huge turnover at the 50-yard line.
Kavulich jumped on it. I think he was getting ready to get up and start celebrating. He looked back down, and it was gone. So Poly lucks out. They're going to have the ball out of midfield, and it'll be a first down.
That's that drill that coaches get into. And, you see guys in the NFL that kind of scoop it up. But I don't really think you want to teach that in high school. You don't have you have great athletes in high school, but not every athlete is great. So as a rule, you want to teach the guy, get down on that thing, curl up around it, and don't let somebody like Dante Candler come and take it away from you.
JJ, Marquis White is back in at quarterback. You should take a look at Matt Ware in the defensive secondary. They keep changing up the quarterbacks. Is that slowing the offense down?
Well, I think that they're looking for the right recipe, the right remedy, and that rotating quarterbacks is something that they've done, so it's not unusual for Long Beach Poly, but I think it's caused them a little bit of confusion.
Marquis White throws, and that ball's almost intercepted by Chad Slapnicka, the linebacker, who was right in the alley and would have had nobody in front of him. Brian Curtis, what's going on?
Well, Jim, I talked to Matt Ware on the way out into the second half, and he split open his hand again in the first half. So there's no stitches in there. They taped it up, so we'll see how it goes, but he was in pain.
Yeah, his right hand, and that's what Brian's talking about. You see the Band-Aid on it right there. And this is something, JJ, earlier in the week when we had a chance to talk with Matt, where he was laughing about it. He said, I was embarrassed. After the game, he went over to high-five some fans. It's a Loyola tradition. Reached up and tore his hand on the fence. 3 stitches. He said, no problem. It'll be out by Wednesday. It's not a factor. Maybe it is. He's been playing pretty well so far, though. Dennis out in the flat. He's tripped up by Jordan Trott.
Boy, Jordan Trott really closed on that. It looked like Herschel Dennis was wide open in the flat, and a nice read, but Jordan Trott just came over with great speed. I didn't anticipate him moving quite that quickly.
Well, you see Trott at 231, and you're right, Herschel Dennis, we know how fast he is, but Trott closed the gap, and that's sort of been the key for Loyola all year. They have their front line occupy the offensive linemen, so these quick and very instinctive linebackers can make plays.
Trott's a first baseman on the baseball team for Loyola. Maybe they better move him to the outfield.
Covering a lot of ground. 3rd down and 6, big play. Loyola fans want to stop. They throw it out in the flat. It's Josh Hawkins. Slapnicka comes over. Not close to a first down. It'll be 4th down for Pauley. The big linebackers for Loyola doing the job. This is how their defense is designed, that the front line sets up the plays for the backers.
Well, and that's fundamentally very sound, which is what you expect from Loyola. You expect them to do things the way that they've done for 25 years under Steve Grady.
Javier Torres on to kick again. Ware and Gio Soretti are back. This ball's going to bounce at about the 20-yard line and take a good poly roll inside the 5 all the way down to the 3-yard line. So a great punt by Javier Torres. 45 yards inside the 5. That way, Javier, hang in there, buddy. It's early.
Every day, Ameridebt helps more people with money problems. People like Tom Baker.
My credit card debt was outrageous. Then I called Ameridebt. They contacted my creditors and got my payments almost cut in half. Now I have only one small monthly bill.
Ameridebt is a nonprofit organization that offers free consultations to consumers seeking to eliminate their debt. People like the Shaws.
Every month I pay our credit card bills, but the balances never seem to get smaller.
Ameridebt got our interest rates reduced, and now the balances are dropping dramatically.
And what's even more amazing is our payments are less than before.
Call 1-800-954-8558. Regardless of your credit, in minutes, join the thousands of people who have turned their financial lives around. People like Maria Rinaldi.
Before I called Ameridebt, the creditors were calling every day. I thought bankruptcy was the only way out. Now I'm debt-free, and my credit rating has been restored.
Call 1-800-954-8558. 1-800-954-8558. Ameridebt, helping America get out of debt.
Not just a game, but an event. CIF Division I Championship at Edison Field. Loyola leading Long Beach Poly 3-0 in the 3rd quarter. And, of course, it's a big game, so all the big faces are back, including some guys who played in this game. Let's go down to Brian Curtis.
Well, you're right, Jim. I'm jammed by Darryl Rideau and Antoine Harris. Teammates at USC, but not teammates a few years ago. Darryl, you went to Poly. What do you think about this game so far?
I think so far it's been a defensive struggle. Poly's definitely been here before. Their quarterback is very talented, but I don't think he's a Matt Gruda good, so I like our chances.
Antoine, those could be construed as fighting words. You're a Loyola man. What about the Loyola side of the ball?
Well, I think differently. Matt Ware has been doing a great job all year for us, and I think he's gonna come out here today and lead us like he said what we're doing, and he's been proving real good early in the game, getting the interception, the end zone where a guy was about to score a touchdown. So I believe he'll come out today and put a great game together.
Now you guys are going to be friends when this game is over, right? Jim, back to you.
Of course, they're Trojans, they're teammates. Now, you know, Daryl Rideau was mentioning Matt Gertiga. JJ, you and I were here. We did that game, that modern-day Poly game with Matt Gertiga. In my opinion, I've been around high school football my whole life. The best game I've ever seen played by a guy on both sides of the football. He was the MVP.
Yeah, great single-game performance by Matt Gertiga, leading modern-day Monarchs over the Poly.
A couple of years ago. Now, Loyola backed up after the great punt by Javier Torres at their 3-yard line. They're going to be a little bit conservative now. Mike Lambie, they have a 3-point lead. Still a lot of football to be played, but Steve Grady's going to be careful.
He does have to be careful, and it's very dangerous when you're in your own end of the field and you haven't exactly been spectacular on offense. And you look at what happened on that play, you know, you're thinking to yourself, boy, they're jumping everything we're trying to get outside. Do you run a counter? But every time they've tried to run a counter, there's been so much penetration that it hasn't worked.
Lance Martin and Kavulich are the receivers if Ware decides to throw out of his end zone. And he's going to. One step, and he throws to Lance Martin. That ball deflected and went through the hands of Odell Jackson, the quarterback.
That's dangerous, because if that thing gets popped up in the air, and Matt Ware would be charged with a pick, but it's the type of thing where it comes off the receiver's hands. This thing's up in the air, and if you get a pick there as Polly, you're as good as getting a chip shot.
JJ, he gator-armed it, didn't he?
Hey, yeah, but you got to watch it. You can't put the receivers hung out like that. I mean, you got to make sure if you're Matt Ware, you got to throw it, put it in his chest, throw it a little bit earlier. Keep me away from those safeties in the middle of the field. They'll kill you.
Your guys.
Lance Martin saw somebody coming. He didn't want to extend those arms. And Ware's just going to run this ball out as far as he can and set up a punt. It was 3rd down and 10. They needed to get to the 13. It'll be 4th down, and Kevin Connell comes on again. So Pauly has at least, with the punt by Torres, has at least moved field position in their favor and maybe get the ball back around midfield.
You look at Marvin Simmons there as he makes the play there. I've been very impressed with his play tonight. You talk about a guy that has a lot of speed. We watched him last week in the Esperanza game, and another guy that was coming up with some big hits. We've seen him do some things like come underneath, yet he never seems to be out of position. There, he follows Matt Ware throughout the play and makes the tackle.
Connell standing right at the back of the end zone, and Willis and Hawkins at midfield. And this ball is blocked in the end zone. Touchdown, Long Beach Poly was Marvin Simmons.
I told you Marvin Simmons was more than just a pretty face.
Oh, what a huge block. And we talked about his motor not stopping. It doesn't stop on special teams. Now remember, this is a starting inside linebacker. He also doubles on special teams for this reason. He can make big plays. A lot of times, Jim, you don't put your starting linebacker on special teams, but he's so dominant and he can make plays. He just beat the center, beat the quarterback, the up man, blocks that kick beautifully without roughing the kicker. Touchdown, Paul.
Darnell Bing is the guy who jumped on it for the touchdown. Extra point is muffed. Joshua Hawkins on the run. He's got a man, Mercedes Lewis, for 2.
But there's a penalty flag, Jim. There's no indication of touchdown because there's a penalty flag. The penalty be against Long Beach Poly, so this extra point will come back for the good of the Jackrabbits.
Now, I didn't see if it was a bad snap or Hawkins just lost the handle. It stays 6-3 right now. See if Paul Caldera can sort it out for us.
Legal procedure.
It is procedure.
It'll make it a little bit more difficult, but still a straight shot. Off of the infield dirt, though, so make note of that.
But it's actually good for him because they get another chance at it. Javier Torres kicking it right at the Loyola students. And this time, he's true. Now the kid's coming back. 7-3 now, so now Loyola needs a touchdown. Well, now here it is again, Connell, no chance. Simmons coming almost untouched.
Well, you know, Peter Lee was the guard, and I don't think he's used to seeing somebody with the speed that Marvin Simmons has got. And he kind of gave him a little shove, but you can't shove Marvin Simmons. You're going to have to block that guy. Very tenacious guy, wants to get to the football, and thus far the biggest play of the game.
Darnell Bing was right behind Marvin Simmons, and when that ball was laying in the end zone. He was the first guy there and just pounced on it for the touchdown.
Yeah, and by the way, Jim, if you think he's going to take a play off, he won't. He'll come on, cover this kickoff, too. So you see, anytime that you have a chance to get Marvin Simmons on the field, you go to him. Like we talked about, he's a guy that's tenacious. His motor never stops running, and big plays and good things will happen when you play with that kind of intensity.
You guys, when we were at the semifinal against Esperanza, Marvin Simmons made a couple of plays. Mike, you just started laughing on one of them.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the way that he hits people, the fact that he's the type of guy that sells out, yet he's under control. You know what I mean? That's the hard thing to do, to be a guy, to be in the right position, yet hit somebody as hard as he can. And, you know, I was on the sidelines thinking, you know, I'm glad that wasn't me getting hit by Marvin.
Quentin Daniels, short return wrapped up, and all of a sudden, Pauly, hell, did they wake the sleeping giants?
They may have, and you know what? It's usually that type of a guy that wakes the football team. I mean, John, you know, you think about the fact that you've got guys like Marvin Simmons, you expect them to make the play, and when they do, that's when you start to rally.
Let's check in with our Scholar Athletes of the Week. Tyler Ebell from Ventura High School, of course, who set the national record for rushing yards in a season, 4,218, and that's going into tonight. He also has 61 touchdowns, and Jennifer Saliamua leading Bonita Vista to a Division I volleyball championship. Congratulations to both. First down for Loyola. We're going to throw. Incomplete. Well, he had the guy wide open in the flat. It was Donnie Clark. And I think there's a little intimidation factor going on, JJ. We've seen a couple of Loyola receivers not bringing balls in.
Yeah, Jim, but we talked about it at halftime. If you're Loyola, Matt Ware has shown up. The supporting cast needs to come. They need to help him. The linemen have to get off the ball, create some running lane for Rafael Rice, and more importantly, the receivers have to come up with catches like that when they can keep the drive going.
Yeah, Ware we knew would have to do most of the work, but he's getting no help right now.
Yeah, he's going to have to get his supporting cast. They're going to have to come up with some big plays. Loyola, Long Beach Poly is content to force these supporting cast members to make plays. They have to make them because they are there.
Daniels is wide to the left. That's Rice going in motion. We're going to throw. Looked inside. They had somebody. They throw him now. It's Kavulich. And Kavulich driven into the Poly bench near the 40-yard line. Greg Kavulich, we saw him in the Edison game in the second round of the playoffs. He's a gamer.
So you watch her. I mean, Rice goes in Jeep motion out to the right, and then Kavulich just kind of sneaks out, gets in the middle there, and there's nobody home. Meanwhile, Rafael Rice running way down the field, and he clears it out for the receiver.
Nice job by Matt Ware recognizing the open receiver, getting the ball, and getting the first down.
Clark and Rice to the left. They go 4 receivers this time. He's going to look to that left side and throw again to Clark to the 45-yard line. Now this is going to soften things up and maybe open up the running game.
You know, I think it does, because when you start to dump that little stuff underneath, it makes you impatient as a safety and as a corner, and you want to start to come up, and that's when you pop some big plays. Also, I think that maybe you complete a couple of these, start to get your rhythm a little bit with the passing game.
Yeah, well, I like the adjustment by Rick Pedrorius, the offensive coordinator for Loyola. He's gone to 4 receivers to spread this Long Beach Poly defense out. We'll see if that creates some more running lanes.
Trips right now for Loyola. Traditionally a running team, and now they look like a good offense, a high-powered offense, as Matt Ware is spun around at midfield.
You've got to hand it to Poly and the way they have handled that option all night, because I would imagine Matt Ware is a very dangerous guy when he runs that offense, but they have done the things that are fundamentally sound. If they penetrate, they don't penetrate too far, and they always negotiate the quarterback, and that is the key to shutting down an option. And not just one guy, but there are 2 guys that are taking care of Matt Ware when he runs that.
First down in midfield as they move the chains again. And you're right, Mike, it's Matt Ware. If he breaks a couple of tackles in the line of scrimmage, there's not many people in this park who can run him down. The quick throw out to Lance Martin. He broke an initial tackle, and then Marvin Simmons came over, and it's hard to break that tackle.
Poly's not buying that. You know, it was interesting. You've got 2 options there. When you've got 3 receivers over there, you can either have them go out and block, or you can have them go deep, open man coverage, and everybody turns their back and run. But the Pauley group is not buying it, and they just come up and make a nice play.
Marvin Simmons, originally from Dominguez, started as a freshman, has come to Pauley and is an absolute star on his way to UCLA. Matt Ware also going to UCLA. He's the quarterback. And the quarter runs out before they can snap it. Now, it was 0-0 at halftime. Loyola got a field goal. Long Beach Poly blocks a punt. Darnell Bing jumps on the loose football. And the Jackrabbits lead Loyola 7-3 with 12 minutes to play in the D1 final.
Здравствуйте, дорогие друзья! Итак, мы с вами в Хабаровске на чемпионате по пощечинам. Сейчас видно, что чемпионат пройдет великолепно. Уж так сильны оба претендента. Итак, смотрим. Уже сейчас видно, что чемпионат пройдет великолепно. Как и обещали нам его организаторы. Единственный претендент на чемпионский титул Розановский без...
Surrounded by the game, they are invincible.
One of the greatest hockey players ever to play the game.
Surrounded by life, they are all too human.
I concluded that he bet on baseball.
Do you have anything to say to your fans?
Beyond the Glory, the new series that takes you into the lives of sports' biggest celebrities.
Absolutely outstanding.
Beyond the Glory, sponsored by Athletes Direct, premieres January 7th on Fox Sports Net.
Monday through Thursday at 9, only on FX.
The New York Times says NFL This Morning is a 2-hour calamity. They say hope for continued sanity at NFL This Morning has ended, and that the cast would belch their way through their college fight songs if given the green light.
Sounds good to me.
We may not have the same taste as the New York Times, but we sure know how to have fun.
You don't have the remote, baby. NFL This Morning.
NFL This Morning, tomorrow on Fox Sports Net.
Welcome back to the CIF Division I Championship. Long Beach Poly, #1 in Southern California, leading second-ranked Loyola 7-3. Brian Curtis has been working celebrities and dignitaries for us and has another.
And dignitaries is right. I'm joined by Long Beach Poly principal Mel Collins. And Mel, your school is dominant in so many sports, but each game still must be special.
I'm too old for this, Brian. I really am. A 7-3 ball game. Yeah, we're happy to be here. A lot of tradition, a lot of good fans, a lot of support over the years. Couldn't be happier. Yes, I could at the end of the game if we were ahead, yes.
Well, we'll see. It's coming up. Jim, back to you.
Mel Collins, he's been through a lot of these. In fact, 4 years in a row, Long Beach Poly has been right here in the Division I Championship.
I talked to Mel before the game, and I said, boy, I hope we have a good game. He says, I don't. I want this thing over in the third quarter.
Well, he got a good game, 7-3 Poly. But Loyola with a bit of a drive right now, 2nd and 7. Matt Ware has hit on his last 3 passes in a row. And he's going to go to the air again, or at least he's going to look. Tago right behind him. Throws against his body and downfield. Quentin Daniels, double covered, almost made a catch.
Boy, Quentin Daniels, I thought he timed that very nicely. And I thought he got good elevation. Matt Ware with the hard thing to do, roll out to your left and then throw that thing back across your body. And he's just an athlete. Look at him. He gets around, gets set, and look where this ball lands. It's right where his receiver can make a play. Almost comes up with a big catch.
Now, Quentin Daniels actually in a very advantageous position there. He was the only one that could see the ball.
Yeah.
The defender's back was to the ball, so if he would have timed it just a little better, got that second hand up, he probably comes up with that catch.
Defensive backs hate that underthrown ball.
That's the worst one.
And it's a great tool for receivers.
Loyola's going to call timeout because it's a big play, 3rd down and 7 from the 47. We'll take a look at our stats through 3 quarters. Now, turnovers obviously have played a part in this game. That has helped Loyola get field position. But look at the total yards. J.J. Pauly continues to dominate this game on the stat sheet.
Yeah, but that isn't much from what they had to start after halftime. Now, time of possession is now equal, and also, more importantly for Loyola, first downs. They have 4. Remember, they went into the half without a first down. They have 4 first downs in the 3rd quarter, so hopefully that means that their offense is starting to gel.
Look at the penalties there. Long Beach had 7 penalties. Loyola only 3, and that's another thing that has kept Loyola in this football game.
You know, Mike Lamb is joining us for the first time this year. JJ up in the booth. He's worked the sideline for us, but folks around the country may have heard Mike's voice before. Of course, he works on Fox Sports Radio, and talk about the new network that's kicking off and just getting bigger every day, huh, Mike?
It is getting bigger every day, and it's been a long day for me today. I do 8 hours of radio on Saturday. I got Chris Rose in the morning, of course, the anchor of the National Sports Report, and then Craig Sheeman and Dan Cilio, and, you know, I like it, but it just makes it a long day. But hanging out with you guys, it's kind of refreshing.
Hey, well, if you need some expert analysis, give me a call, buddy. Give me a call.
Mike, you know, there are people sitting at home that have real jobs, and they're listening to you talking about sports for 10 hours. Yeah, what a bummer for you. 3rd down and 13 from the 47-yard line. 3rd down and 7, excuse me. And we're going to throw deep down the middle. Got Kavulich, and he couldn't get to it. He was open at the 5-yard line and came up a step short.
Well, we talked about the defensive back for Long Beach Poly sitting on routes tonight. Kavulich was well behind the defense there. If they would have been able to hook up, that was a guaranteed touchdown.
Well, you look at where, again, gets himself set fundamentally, very sound with what he does, and he just leads him too much. But usually the guys underthrow it, and I'd rather see him overthrow it and let the receiver run to it. And Matt Ware knows he should have had that one.
After hitting 3 in a row, he just misses on his last 2, and so Loyola will have to give it up. Less than 12 minutes to play. And Darnell Bing is back for Long Beach Poly. He's the guy who recovered the block punt. Did he touch it? Poly is able to get back on this football, and that is a lucky break. It's Kim Taylor. I don't know if Bing touched it, but everybody played it, and the referees went on.
Jim, I'll tell you, that was another example of why you don't try to pick up the ball, just secure it. You're down deep in their territory. Don't try to scoop it up for the touchdown, just secure it. But we'll take a look to see. It was questionable whether he touched it.
Drifting away from him, and again, remember, he's looking up into a bank of lights that would be in left field here, and the lights are not situated for football games here. Remember that during a baseball game, everybody is facing away from those lights. He's looking straight up, and the ball moving away from him.
That's true, but you want your return man to field that thing. Don't let that thing bounce further down, because now, I mean, you're in trouble. You're on your own 4-yard line when you could have been on the 10 or 11.
Field position has played a big part in this game, and it still is. Pitch to Herschel Dennis in the end zone. Dennis slipping at the 10-yard line. He cut inside of Gio Soretti. You want that clock to run, JJ. You go back. You just start giving that ball to Herschel Dennis. You tell those big Clydesdales up front to start moving that pile.
Well, you would hope that with the amount of time the Loyola defense has been on the field tonight, that they would be worn down, and now it should be Herschel Dennis time. Huge offensive line for Long Beach Poly. They got to take advantage of that size.
You love that stuff, don't you, JJ?
Hawkins and Candler are the wide guys, and don't rule out a long throw. Brandon Brooks, the quarterback, back to Dennis, stacked up right at the 10-yard line. It's going to be 3rd down and 3.5. Bronco Soretti was in quickly. Had some help from Mike Hillsman.
You look at what Herschel Dennis does, and I think that the main part of this offense for him has been to run in between the tackles. And, you know, I'd like to see them zone it a little more, get a little bit moved side to side, and then up the field. I think that's where Herschel Dennis can get to the line and use that push.
Dennis, 19 carries, 81 yards. 3rd down, they're going to throw. Hawkins incomplete in the flat. Loyola's going to get it back. Well, not a good ball by Brandon Brooks, and he knew it. Just slipped out of his hand.
Yeah, but there was good coverage down the field. Brandon Brooks actually didn't even have anybody open to pass to, so he throws that ball away, and it'll bring up 4th down. But, you know, I got to get back to Herschel Dennis. I mean, you got to use him, but it's the way you use him. Right now, they're trying to pound him inside the tackles because they realize that they have a size advantage up front. But Herschel Dennis is very quick. Get him to the outside.
Javier Torres in the end zone. Loyola with 10 on the line. They're coming after it. Oh, they bluffed and backed off. Normally, they have 2 guys back, Soretti and Ware. It's Soretti by himself. He slips at the 45, and so the ball goes all the way across midfield and to the 46-yard line of Loyola, so they lose about 10 yards on the slip. 10:06 to play. The CIF Division I final. Loyola down by 4, but they have the ball.
Just a bit of magic. Oh, you gotta see it. So like the unexpected, perfectly perfected.
High-definition television, made possible by Panasonic.
Oh, just a bit of magic.
Take that ordinary room and create an extraordinary room with your free domestications catalog. Discover the huge selection of beautiful home furnishings. Call 1-800-850-9448 for your free catalog.
This is Jeopardy!
What is Boogie Woogie Oogie?
No, Denise.
What is Boogie Oogie Oogie?
This is Jeopardy! From the creators of America's favorite quiz show.
What is Fun Fun Fun?
VH1's Rock and Roll Jeopardy! All of music's toughest questions.
What is I Want Your Sex?
Who is Tito?
What is Radio Gaga?
You guys are too good.
What is Rock and Roll Jeopardy!
It's the best game show on television.
Only on VH1.
VH1's Rock and Roll Jeopardy is brought to you by Cold Filtered Miller Genuine Draft. Never miss a genuine opportunity.
Long Beach Poly's been to the big dance before. They know how to behave when they come to the stadium. Enjoy the moment, JJ. It's the big game.
It is the big dance, Jim. And when you got the big dance, you got to get a little bit jiggy with it.
Oh, sure. Rondell Malvo. I think he plays on the basketball team, too.
Yeah, look at that amazing stat on tonight. 69 yards for this Loyola offense. I mean, they look anemic tonight, but this really was a high-powered offense. We saw them go up and down the field at will against Edison.
First down for Loyola at their own 46-yard line. Matt Ware going to roll and going to run. Can he get the corner? Nope. Just ridden out of bounds.
You know, that's the type of thing. He's going to get the corner on probably 95% of the teams that he's going to face, but Darnell Bing just comes over there. They string that thing out very well, and they utilize the sidelines. It's hard to try to get outside on a defense that has great team speed.
Right, but if I'm Loyola, I think I got to go back to those 4 and 5 wide receiver sets because that spreads this Long Beach Poly defense out. It'll force them to bring their nickel package in, and if they don't bring the nickel package in, you'll be passing against linebackers, outside linebackers. Create some mismatches for your offense.
Now they go 4 receivers. JJ trips left. And Ware looks to those 3 receivers, and now he sees Tago. And Ware's still on his feet. Battles back to about the 47-yard line. And Tago is still down in the Loyola backfield.
Yeah, Jim, Ray Tago just collapsed that pocket single-handedly. I mean, there was actually good blocking, and it just caved in around Matt Ware. And it's because Ray Tago put tremendous pressure on the quarterback.
Ray Tago, known as a great pass rusher. He's also come in and played some tight end this year. Just a good athlete.
And I watched him come off the edge. You see the pocket just collapse. He just collapsed the pocket on Matt Ware. Now, Tago gained 25 pounds from last year. It is not fat. It's all muscle, and he uses that extra strength to do exactly what he's done there. He goes at 6'3", 275.
Well, that's a guy who's going to play college football. USC, Washington, Nebraska are all interested in lucky number 7. Looks like he's okay.
Look at those guns. I mean, I just can't get over the physical prowess of the Poly football team. You talk about no high schools produce more NFL guys. I would say that trend might continue.
3rd down and 10. Back at the original line of scrimmage, the 46-yard line. Matt Ware with Josh Soria behind him. And back to the air. He's got Quentin Daniels, but he's never going to get a chance to get him the football.
Daniel Wright. another guy that comes in. You watch Manuel Wright, and he just gets the good move. He's got his hands moving, and then he gets to the quarterback, and then his buddies show up. Marvin Simmons likes to come in and help out. And if you're Matt Ware, do you like this situation? Do you like these guys just loading up on you?
Pongo Tongafowl was the other guy who came in and made the tackle.
You're working, Waddy.
Wanted to get it in. 4th down as Loyola goes backwards. They lose 5 yards, and you have to wonder how many more times they're going to have the football. Now, not Darnell Bing back this time. For Pauley, it was Josh Hawkins, and again, the ball bounces without being touched. 8:22 now to play. Long Beach Pauley, a 7-3 lead.
Now set your clock for Midnight Rock. 30 passionate power ballads from TV Music for You. Midnight Rock on 2 cassettes or 2 CDs. And remember, use your credit card and get a 3rd album free. Call this toll-free number now to order Midnight Rock. 2 cassettes, $21.99, 2 CDs, $26.99, plus $5.50 for shipping and handling. Have your credit card ready and call now.
Long Beach Poly has been in the CIF Finals 17 times. They have 13 titles and trying to add to it. They are 8:22 away, but they have to hold off Loyola. This is the way the state breaks down right now. De La Salle is done for the year. They win the state championship. They win the national championship, 113 straight victories. Poly is sitting at number 2. Loyola is number 3. And you see some other Southern California schools. Elk Grove is from the Sacramento area, but Esperanza in the state top 10. Back to action, Herschel Dennis finds a little seam on the right side, gets a 1st down.
That's what I would anticipate you want to do. Get Herschel Dennis, like you said, JJ, get him outside and, you know, attack the perimeter there. You've got a guy with this kind of speed. Nobody's in the picture there, and he finds a cutback. Those are the type of holes you expect to see in the 4th quarter.
You know, it was interesting. We saw that state top 10. I didn't see Bishop Amont. I didn't see Clovis.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're not giving Buchanan and Clovis any love there at all.
I was just wondering if that's the accurate top 10.
Their only loss is to De La Salle, and they're not getting any love from you.
Brandon Brooks back at quarterback. That means they're going to the air. Play action, out the flat ball, almost intercepted again by Loyola. The linebacker, Chad Slapnick, who has had a great night and a great career, and he's just a junior, the first sophomore ever to start at linebacker at Loyola, and he almost went into the history books right there.
Yeah, look where Slapnicka started, though, Jim. He started lined up over the guard. He's going to get out into the flat and almost pick this ball off. That's great perimeter speed. The inside linebackers for Loyola, very fast. Trot, Slapnicka, just a great example of that team speed.
2nd down and 10, and the Pauley passing attack is dead in the water right now. Brooks 0 for his last 7. The only ball that was caught by Matt Ware, an interception.
Dennis.
And they go back to the air again. And he breaks the skid as he hits Hawkins at the 45-yard line, real close to a 1st down.
You can't become one-dimensional, I understand that. But I just, I'm watching this Pauley offense, and I just think their best chance for success is Herschel Dennis. One, because you know it's going to be a tight game, okay? It has been a thing that you could utilize and be successful with, but the other thing is it eats up clock, and you control, and I think you are starting to wear down the Loyola defense.
Yeah, they've been on the field all night, Mike, and you got to realize there has to be a time where this defense is going to cave in.
It was 3rd down and 1. And Pauley had a lot of success converting 3rd downs early on plays like that where they just went straight ahead. They had converted 5 of their first 7, but only 1 of their last 6.
Yeah, I know it sounds like an overly simplistic approach to offensive football, But I mean, John, do you disagree with that Herschel Dennis is not your first and best option on offense?
No, I agree. I think that they're getting frustrated with the way that the run plays to Dennis between the tackles have worked out. He's been ineffective in between the tackles.
Right.
But if you get him in space, he is so dangerous. You got to just give him the ball.
And they give him the ball. Herschel Dennis. Got to see Matt Ware is the guy who grabs him at the 40.
Right on cue.
You like that, John?
Right on cue. If you get him outside the tackles, you know he has to attack the perimeter. Now, attacking the perimeter doesn't necessarily mean that the play has to be a sweep. You can do this. You can have him go off tackle, bounce outside, find the running lane, and that's Herschel Dennis at his best.
Well, I think when you've got a defense that is going after the running back and you run a counter here, I think you give your offensive line an advantage when you get a nice push. Herschel Dennis does a good job of selling the counter, and I always think that's key with a running back. Don't give it that little to the right and go left. Sell it.
And they give it back to Dennis again. He had 112 yards before that attempt. Now he's over 115. Herschel Dennis was the guy who stood up in front of his team on Tuesday at practice and said, I just don't think we're focused. I don't think you guys wanted enough. And that's a guy who doesn't say a lot of things, so when he gets up in front of people, he's going to get some attention.
Well, you understand that when you're on a team and you have a certain amount of stature like he does, I think that is your job, because at this time of the year, the coach has said it 1,500 times. But now you want your star player to come up and drive the point home.
Now they give it to him for a third time in a row. Shorter gain there.
Yeah, Jim, the assumption is the quarterback is always the leader of the offense. Well, in this situation where you have quarterbacks sharing the wealth, sharing their roles, you have to look to somebody else, and Herschel Dennis is the perfect example. He leads by example. He shows up night in and night out. He's playing well again tonight.
I think that is the natural assumption that it is the quarterback, but almost every team I've ever played on, and I'm thinking back to when in college, the USC, it was the running back was the guy, and that was by design. That way you ran the offense, but it was the personality of those guys as well. And it's nice when they don't say much, but then they go out. You know, you appreciate how physical you have to be as a running back. You're a guy that's just getting beat to death all the time. And when a running back says something to you, I think you take notice because you appreciate what he has to go through.
Maurice Murray is the injured lineman down for Long Beach Poly at the right guard.
He is their best run blocker. When I talked to the coaches this week at practice, they said Maurice Murray is the guy that is our best run blocker, and he has really been the stabilizing force in that offensive line this year.
Let's go down to Brian Curtis on the sideline.
Well, Jim, I've been patrolling, and I came over here to Loyola's sideline, and I got to tell you, even though there's only over 6 minutes perhaps left in their season, the coaches are still coaching and screaming, the players are still excited and supporting each other, but perhaps the best indication is I saw 3 players with their hands together praying to the sky, looking for some divine intervention. Jim?
Well, of course, Loyola is a Catholic school, and you look anywhere you can. JJ, you went to Bishop Amat. Is that a big part of the football program?
Oh, it definitely is. You know, you have religion, and anytime you're at any religious school, especially a Catholic school, you know, religion plays a big part of it. It's just, you know, it's great. I enjoyed my experience at Bishop Amat.
Oh, I'm sure they enjoyed having you, too.
It depends on how I played.
Maurice Murray is still down on the field, so we'll take a timeout. 6:12 to play in the D1 final. Long Beach Poly holding on, trying to win the Southern California Championship.
The New York Times says NFL This Morning is a 2-hour calamity. They say hope for continued sanity at NFL This Morning has ended, and that the cast would belch their way through their college fight songs if given the green light. Sounds good to me. We may not have the same taste as the New York Times, but we sure know how to have fun.
You don't have the remote, baby. NFL This Morning.
NFL This Morning, tomorrow on Fox Sports Net.
One Emmy Award-winning journalist.
Are you drug-free now as we sit and talk?
Television's first Emmy-nominated weekly sports magazine.
The perception, Jerry, that there was a cover-up.
No one else gets to the heart of the important stories.
Let's face it, the sport is barbaric.
No one else gets you inside the head of today's biggest athletes.
I never told anybody, so I'll tell you.
Going deep.
With Chris Myers.
Sundays at 7 on Fox Sports Net.
Maurice Murray, the injured Jackrabbit, being helped off the field, and he weighs 300 pounds, so it takes 4 or 5 guys to get him over to the bench. It looks like he injured that left ankle, and Mike, you know that as an offensive lineman, people roll up on your ankles, all kinds of weird stuff happens in the trenches.
You know, it amazes me that it doesn't happen more, because when you look at those piles and you're thinking to yourself, man, that guy fell on that guy's calf, on that guy's knee, and how did they not get hurt every play?
3rd down and 4 from the 32-yard line. They go to Dennis, right side. Matt Ware makes the tackle, but it looks like Dennis is real close to the 1st down again.
You know what I like about Herschel Dennis? Number 1, he's a very physical guy. 2, he's got that lean that you've got to have, and I think that he runs closer to the ground. Pad level is something that coaches like to talk about a lot. And when you've got a good pad level and good forward lean, the first guy's not going to be able to take you down. And he's the type of guy that gets to his line, waits for the push, and then pushes some more.
Yeah, Herschel Dennis did a nice job of really setting that play up. He started into the line. He knew where he wanted to go. He wanted to go outside, but he set all of his blocks up, bounced it outside, and as you mentioned, Mike, low pad level got him that 1st down.
Now they're going to keep this ball on the ground. Raymond Tago is in now as a tight end. We mentioned that big number 7, he plays defensive end normally, but he comes in this jumbo package, and they're just going to keep this ball on the ground because they want that clock to run. Right. And obviously, the further they push it down the field, the further they're pushing Loyola away from the end zone.
Well, you know, you saw at the end of that play, who was delivering the blow? It's not the defenders, it's Herschel Dennis, and he's getting an extra yard and a half after impact.
Yeah, but Mike, I'll tell you what's going through Jerry Jaso's mind right now. He realized he has the best defense probably in California. He's going to put it in the defense's hands to win this game. He'll keep the ball on the ground, run as much time off the clock, and let his defense win the championship for him.
His defense has done a great job today. Look at Loyola, a pretty good offense, a great quarterback. They only have 3 points. Raul Lara is the defensive coordinator for Long Beach Poly, and he came up to Mike Lamb and myself on the field before the game, JJ, and he said, you know, last year in the championship game, one of you guys said that he said, Raul Lara, the defensive coordinator for Long Beach Poly, has 3 daughters. And he said he got home and he got a lot of grief from his wife because he has 2 daughters and 1 son.
Well, we got a straight picture. It's a good thing he came back again.
He said he walked in, his wife looked across the room and said, you got something to tell me? Well, Jerry Jaso has done a great job over at Long Beach Poly. He's been the solo head coach for 6 years. He's been there for 16 years. We talked with the coach about a very special place, Long Beach Poly.
When you've been in a championship game 4 years in a row, it starts with the kids. You have to have great players to win as many games as we have. You know, and staffing-wise, you know, the guys that coach with us have been there for a lot of years, and there's a lot of cohesiveness on our staff, and there's a lot of dedication on our staff, and guys who are Poly community guys who really believe in the kids and spending some time with them and care about them beyond the football field, care about what they end up doing with their lives 5 and 10 years from now. So there's a continuity there, and we preach the idea to our kids that we're a family, and being a family, if we stay together as that family, we can accomplish a great deal.
Now they almost got a touchdown, but Greg Kabulich almost with an interception, tipping that ball away. Mike Willis thought he had a score.
Tell you what, Mike Willis has been consistently behind that Loyola defense. Loyola really have been fortunate not to get beat for a touchdown because Willis on 3 separate occasions has been open deep.
Yeah, and if he's open deep, though, you got to get the ball down there. The ball's been underthrown. He's had to come back for it. So let's go back to plan A. Now that's a drive. That's eating up some clock right there. 10 plays.
And that's just what they wanted. It's exactly what they needed right now.
11 plays now, 55 yards, almost 4 minutes. You know, you start at your own 20-yard line and you march the thing down, you eat up that clock, and you can go down and stick this thing in the end zone.
Well, now it's interesting because it's 4th down. So it's going to be 4th down and about, we're eyeballing it. Now, remember, if you've ever been to Edison Field, we're calling this game from the baseball press box, so we're about 80 yards away, and that's not an excuse, but we can't see exactly how far it is. They're marking 2 yards on the scoreboard. It looks a little bit further than that, and Long Beach Poly is going to go on 4th down and 2. The D1 final on the line. Herschel Dennis around the corner, plows forward, and the Poly sideline applauds.
Go.
1st down.
Herschel Dennis, I mean, there's no doubt when you see these guys lined up, you got a fullback as the lead blocker, you've got a tight end over on the right side. They're just going over there. You know, if you're not going to block for me, I'm going to take you out. Mercedes Lewis finds that out, and the star of the offense, obviously to this point, has been Herschel Dennis.
Well, and more bad news for Loyola because the guy down is Matt Ware. Their quarterback, their star on both sides of the football.
But Jim, that is the risk of having your star quarterback play so many downs at free safety against a very strong offense. He has to come up and make hits. So really, they always talk about the quarterback, how many hits they take during a game. Well, you have him at free safety. He's going to take some licks at free safety. You can ill afford to lose him at this point.
Yeah, but you got to have him in the football game.
Well, he's going to have to go out for at least a play right now. Yeah. So if you're Pauly, do you attack that position?
Herschel Dennis still.
Quentin Daniels is in. They go to Herschel Dennis. Jordan Trott with the tackle. The clock rolling again inside 3 minutes and 30 seconds.
And this is good old-fashioned football. It's what we talked about at halftime. You know, you're taking your shots at me for talking about smash mouth football, but you know, you see here in the fourth quarter what a great luxury it is to be able to have that, to be able to line up in an I formation and have a lead blocker that's putting guys down, and have somebody like Herschel Dennis, number one, who goes to the right place, but you don't think he's going to make a mistake. The guy's had one fumble this year.
Second down and 6 ball at the 12-yard line. Herschel Dennis, right side and no room.
Well, you got to figure that the pounding up front is now starting to take its toll, and this drive is indicative of why you want to run the ball, especially early in the game, because it pays dividends at the end. With a talented running back like Herschel Dennis, he's not going to slow down. So if you can get any break, and this defense has to be tired. They've been on the field the entire game, Mike.
You know, and I think going in at halftime, I'm sure that was on the mind of Coach Jerry Jaso, thinking to himself, you know, their defense has been out there a lot. We've got some guys that can pound away. If it gets down to it, I think we're going to try to beat these guys up.
Third down and 6. And the back judge is going to tell him it's too much time. Well, Mike, you mentioned that the Long Beach Poly defense has been out there for an awfully long time. Some of the Long Beach Poly defense is still out there. I mentioned Raymond Tago, the defensive end, had come in the jumbo package to play tight end. There's another guy on the field. Outside linebacker, number 5, junior Talia Uli is also in there right now. He's lining up as a fullback. He's the guy who cleared the way when Herschel Dennis got that first down on the 4th down run to the right side.
Well, I think the junior should stay in there then, because I think that's been something that you've seen. You've seen a lead blocker that's putting guys away. And, you know, it's kind of funny. You don't usually talk about fullbacks. You don't usually talk about tight ends that much, but I think the key is having a fullback that will go and stick his nose in there.
Well, now it's 3rd down and 11, but you figure Pauly will go on both snaps, so it's 4-down territory. Marquis White rolls, going to try to throw it back, and he's going to lose the football. And Loyola's got it. Kevin Harper is the guy who came up with it. Loyola needed the football to get it back with 2:07.
Jim, what a huge play for the Cubs. But if you're Long Beach Poly, the only question, the only word you can say is why? Why throw the ball? You've dominated the line of scrimmage. You pushed the ball all the way down the field. And now you're going to get tricky and try to fool them. Huge turnover for Loyola. The defense has been doing it for them all year. They do it again now.
Well, Marquis White in this situation, you know, you don't want to be a hero all the time. And when you've got the like of Nathan Green in your grill, a guy that gets to you, a basketball player, a very good athlete, put the ball away, eat it. You know, you don't want to give the thing up.
You know what? That was basketball player against basketball player. Nathan Green on Marquis White.
Kevin Harper comes up with that fumble recovery.
You know, Loyola, we talked about it, JJ, 2 hours before game time when we were trying to figure out how Loyola could win this football game. And one of the first things that we brought up, we breached turnovers. We said they have to win the battle of turnovers. You saw the graphic, 3 turnovers for Long Beach Poly, and Loyola has taken great care of the football. This year they only have 18 turnovers, so clean living for Loyola, and they got a chance now. 60 yards away. And Matt Ware's back in, and he's okay. Bobrowski. He's got a chance to go. Mike Wagner down to the 16-yard line.
You get no more excited than that. 42 yards. Wagner, unbelievable. Now, Loyola last week came up with a trick play. They threw the ball to Matt Ware out of the backfield. This time to Bobrowski. I tell you the truth, Jim, I couldn't find the ball for about 40 yards.
You know, people say Steve Grady is defensive-minded. Loyola doesn't do anything fun, but they are known for trick plays. They break them out when they need them, and they needed one, and they pick up a 42-yard gain. And all of a sudden, Mike Wagner, an offensive lineman, is their leading rusher in the CIF Division I championship game.
Well, the athletes always come to play, don't they? Give it to Michael Wagner.
We knew that it would revert back to the lineman being an athlete. I don't know about that. Matt Ware is still the man, but everybody fooled on this play.
Look at the great fake by Ware. Everybody looking for the football. That's Rice 21. And here he comes, the big fella.
Oh, is he sweet? Look at that cat-like agility going down the sidelines.
Hey, use a stiff arm, though. He didn't work on a stiff arm during the week. He gets him off of him and scores a touchdown.
Come on, JJ. He switched hands with the football. What else do you want?
Mike Wagner, 6 feet, 231 pounds, and he runs the 40 today.
I guarantee you he's down to about 229 after that run.
Oh, that's great stuff. The Loyola fans are back in this game and up on their feet.
That looks like a legitimate 4-6 to the 40, though, because you know that Ray Washington runs 4-4, and he wasn't catching up very quick. So that was a legit 4-6 by Wagner.
I'm not sure he wanted to catch up.
Cubs fire out of the huddle. Matt Ware, the calm head, one of the best athletes in the country, on his way to UCLA to play defense, and right now he needs 5 points to put the Cubs in front. Rolling to his right, he's tucking it away. He wants to keep it.
Oh, they got it. Unsportsmanlike penalty.
They're going to get Pauly for throwing him out of bounds.
You can't be tackling somebody 7 yards out of bounds. It's just too easy a penalty.
Talia Uli, number 5, was the guy who hit him, and they carried across the sideline. Personal foul against Long Beach Pauly.
And Jim, this is the same.
There's the left hand of Ken Earl.
In St. Paul in the quarterfinals. Unsportsmanlike penalties just kill you, and this one is going to be a big one because they're going to take the ball half the distance to the goal line.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, you watch the replay of it.
Hey, when we talk about...
He was surprised. JJ, it kind of looked like he just let him go.
Yeah, when we talk about Matt Ware being the best athlete in the state, he did not get thrown to the ground, but he made it look good.
Now, you look at it on the replay, Mike, and I think he might have got away with one.
Well,
Talia Uli just kind of let go of him. They were going different directions.
Maybe he's going to be a drama major at UCLA.
Pauly out of timeouts. Remember, they had to burn one earlier on a punt, so they're done. Loyola still has 2, and 1:49 to play. But a field goal won't do it. They got to get in the end zone. We have played 46 minutes of football, and there's not a Cub paw print in the end zone yet.
Now, Jim, if you're Steve Grady and Rick Pretorius, you have to view this as 5-down territory. The ball rests at the 8-yard line, 2nd and short. You have to score a touchdown, and you got to come up with 5 plays to make 8 yards.
So it's 2nd down and 1. Bo Renault, the guy in the backfield. Long count, they hand to Renault. He doesn't get much, but I think he gets enough. 1st down at the 5. Well, if Loyola thinks it's going to be easy to get in the end zone, think again, because Long Beach Poly has 6 shutouts this year, and they're pitching a shutout in terms of touchdowns right now.
But I think that you're looking at Loyola's got a good chance there if they can attack between the tackles, and I think that's what I do in this situation. I don't know that I want to go outside and challenge the speed of the Poly defense. I might attack the heart of it.
Well, I can guarantee you Matt Ware will be involved somehow.
Bo Renault and Raphael Rice, both sophomores in the backfield, and they keep it in the hands of the senior. Matt Ware, he throws. Touchdown, Loyola! Joe Killifer, the tight end, his first catch of the night. for excess celebration. Touchdown should stand.
Well, you knew if Loyola was going to win this game, it was going to be a situation where they hung in, and got an opportunity. And Matt Ware does a good job of going over there. Paulie very concerned about his offensive prowess, and then he just turns and fires a strike to the tight end, Joe Killefer.
Well, now it's 9-7, and that penalty is very important, you guys, because the situation now is for Nathan Oates, the field goal kicker. This extra point is going to be a 35-yarder. And remember, there's still a $1:12 left, so Long Beach Poly's going to get the football. Now, Nathan Oates has this range, but I'm sure this isn't where he wants to kick an extra point from. How much pressure has this young man been under in the last couple of weeks? Overtime against Eisenhower, a 37-yarder to win it. Tonight he got the first field goal when it was a 0-0 deadlock.
But you see him there, he's getting a little love there from Walter Kale, who's the holder. And, you know, Nathan Oates is the kind of guy, he made a tackle tonight. He's won games before. Football player.
Walter Kale is a backup quarterback. Keep that in mind.
This is a chip shot for Oates.
JJ likes his chances right from second base. Oh, JJ. That kid's got a great foot.
If you put it in from 46 at an angle, you can put it in dead straight.
He's going to be a popular man at school. 10-7, but Killefer is the guy who put him in front.
Now, Jim, watch the play call here. You're going to notice Killefer's going to come from the right side of your screen and slip out to the left. He'll go unaccounted for. See him slip to the left? Now, Ware rolls right, comes back left to Killefer. That's a great play call. Nobody can account for the backside tight end coming across. That's an outstanding play and great execution.
You'll see him right here coming right at you. Number 90 just slides across the fannies of all of the big hogs up front, wide open in the flat. And Long Beach Poly a little late to react.
I'll tell you, two great calls on this drive. The fumble Ruski, of course, was genius. Right. And then they come back with a goal line play with the game and the season on the line. What great pre-game preparation by the Loyola coaching staff to have those plays and to save them for the right time.
Now, we've been watching football for a long time, you guys, and this year it has happened a lot of times when a team takes the lead like this late and then they're going to kick off. They play it too safe, right, and they go with one of those pooch kicks, and they end up giving the other team great field position. You got to kick it deep, do you not?
Well, yeah, you got to kick it deep, but the problem is number 34 is deep, so you don't want to kick it to him. That's the last person right now you want to touch the ball.
Mike Lamb, what's your decision? You kick it deep?
You do exactly what John said. You kick it, but you kick it away from Herschel Dennis, and that, you know, this is when you're a little bit scared. Is your kicker thinking that way? You got to make sure you tell him.
He's going to pop it up, and that's Hawkins. He's a receiver. He takes it on a bounce, and look at this.
Well, Jim,
35-yard line. Well, Matt Ware, we knew was the big key coming in. We weren't the only ones. His head coach, Steve Grady, knew that number 17 was going to play a big part tonight.
He's
Well, suffice it to say that Steve Grady's been very happy to have Matt Ware on his campus for the last 4 years.
He leaves him speechless.
Yeah, and he said, I can tell you what he said. He said that he's no better player. He's been blessed to have such a great player like Matt Ware.
Brandon Brooks is in at quarterback. Rory Carrington is in the backfield. You know they're going to throw. Here comes Loyola, and he's going down. Mike Hilsman.
Well, Jim, I think that has been one of the biggest factors tonight that I didn't think was going to happen. The pressure that has been put on the Long Beach quarterbacks tonight has been immense by the Loyola defense.
The Poly has no timeout, so remember, the clock is going to continue to run. Hillsman just got back there to Brooks, and, you know, give some credit to the secondary, and Matt Ware is a part of that. They had everybody wrapped up, and Brooks didn't have anybody to throw to. Now, with just 50 seconds, he's going to have to start taking some chances. They're going to go trips to the left side. Hawkins, Candler, and Willis are the big targets, but Herschel Dennis is also in the pattern. He goes for Willis. Mike Willis, can he get out of bounds? He does, and he gets a first down.
Well, that sack was huge on first down, because now you've got second down that you've got to utilize just to get back to the first yard marker.
Oh, excuse me, I was looking for an downfield. You're right, I forgot about the big loss, so it is third down. Thanks, JJ.
Yeah, it's going to be a big play. Now, remember, the one thing for Long Beach Poly, they haven't been in this situation, Jim. All year long, they have not had to drive any significant amount of yardage to win a game.
Especially without any timeouts. Think back to the timeouts that they had to waste.
Third down and 9. Brooks again. Looks for Willis, pump fakes. Wants Willis inside out. Quentin Daniels had it. Lost it, and Willis got it back.
Now the clock will stop until they get the chain set.
High school football, the clock stops until they get the chain set. 37 yards. Quentin Daniels almost had the interception for Loyola. And then Willis, a circus catch to take it back. Ball at the 30. They gonna kill it? And he does. Steps back and spikes it. And 29 seconds remain. Mike Willis, what a great catch. Quentin Daniels had the interception. It would have meant title time for Loyola. Watch number 19.
Well, Daniels is in perfect position. That ball goes right through his hands. Willis with great concentration. He's been so close to making big plays all night. He finally comes up with one, and now the general, Brandon Brooks, has him in scoring range.
Everybody say it along with me. Tip drill.
That was the ultimate tip drill.
Same 4 receivers again. From the 30, they have no timeouts. Brooks, good protection, throws. Has Hawkins. Hawkins to the 7-yard line. The clock will stop until they move the chains. They have to wait for the officials, and Brooks says, I'm going to spike it. They'll have time to run a couple of plays and maybe get it in the end zone. Now they'll start the clock again. And Brooks kills it. So they only lose 1 second in all of that. Nice job by Brandon Brooks to get everybody up to the line of scrimmage. And this is something, remember, that Long Beach Poly probably doesn't practice. Their 2-minute offense.
Well, they haven't had to utilize it. You know, it's one thing to practice it. It's another thing to have done it in games. And you're talking about Brandon Brooks, the guy who technically is the backup at quarterback.
Yeah, has to come in and make the biggest plays of the game. Now they have the ball inside the 10-yard line, 3 plays at it.
Mercedes Lewis, bottom of your screen, is 6'6". Do they run the fade? You bet. Out of the end zone. They had it, JJ. He just didn't throw it quite high enough.
Yeah, now let's see if you're Loyola. You might want to consider burning a timeout and make sure you match up if they run this again. Lewis, 6'6", Jim, as you mentioned, will go up and get it. Very
that's
close.
Very close.
It's like a catch to me.
1 foot in high school.
Yeah,
let's see if he has control. Right there.
Well, they're going to talk about that one for a while.
Now, that was close. It depends when he's bobbling the ball, and the official has to make a judgment call. It's not easy. I know if you're sitting at home, it depends whether you're wearing a blue hat or a green hat. Well, now they're going to try to kick a field goal with 13 seconds on 3rd and goal. And the reason they go for it on 3rd down, you guys, if there's a bad snap, they can just hold on to it. It'll be 4th down. They get to kick it again. Loyola's going to call timeout. All right, well, that's good because it gives us time to take a look at it one more time, and it's going to be a controversial play. And the official, remember, is seeing this naked eye with a lot of traffic in front of him, and we're still not sure, and this is the 3rd time we've seen it. Watch, not just his feet, but he's bobbling the football. Now he has control, and the foot is in the end zone.
Oh,
it's a touchdown.
It is a touchdown.
Very tough call.
Does instant replay now move to high school?
You can't fault the official because it was such a bang-bang play, and the ball's being bobbled, and there's a lot of things going on in front of him. He made a call. He was in position.
And it took us 4 times.
It took us 4 times, and in super slow motion to get it, so give some credit to the official.
Well, now you've got a situation where you've got a kicker that's going to have to try to win this game for you.
And this is a kicker who hasn't made a field goal all year.
Yeah.
Long Beach Poly hadn't attempted a field goal until earlier in this game, and he missed a short one.
touchdown.
Well, now they're not going to line up for a field goal. Now they're going to run a play on 3rd down and goal.
Well, you know, it's interesting. Loyola called a timeout, and I think that Pauley was having a hard time getting their field goal team out there. I think Loyola might have done Pauley a favor by calling the timeout.
Well, Steve Grady has been around high school football as a head coach for 25 years.
Right.
You know, all heck is breaking loose. Everybody in the stadium's going crazy. JJ's loosening his tie next to me. And Steve Grady just calmly walks out onto the field and says, well, nobody's going to snap it until I get out of here. He just looked at the official and said, I'd like to talk to my boys.
I'll tell you what happened with Steve Grady. He realized the same thing we did. The kicker has not made a field goal all year long. He wants to make him think about it. I mean, we're in week 14 at the end of the game, the biggest kick of his life. He said, I'm going to make him think about it before he gets that opportunity.
And who would have thought about it coming in? And we knew there were good defenses, but I don't think among the 4 of us with Brian Curtis on the sideline, I don't think any of us thought that it might come down to a field goal. The only time that thought even passed through my mind was when I walked by Nathan Oakes on my way up to the press box. He's the Loyola kicker, and because he beat Eisenhower last week, I said, do you want it again? He said, let me have it. Well, he's already had his moment, and now it might fall back on Javier Torres. And this is a guy who earlier, well, he caused them to burn a timeout when he wasn't out for a punt. He missed a field goal, but then he came back. He hit an extra point. He had a great punt, a 45-yarder that pinned him back, and maybe it'll come back down to him. But still, Pauley with 1 snap, a chance to win if they can score a touchdown.
They'll have to go to the end zone, Jim, otherwise the clock will run out.
Brooks. He's got Hawkins to the right. He goes for Hawkins in the corner and throws it out of the end zone. And now it's 4th down, and is it Javier Torres?
They go with one more safe fade route, but I tell you, Javier Torres has to come on, and he will have to kick this ball outside of the goalpost. Remember, the hash marks are actually wider in high school football than the goalpost, so he'll have a little bit of an angle to put this ball in.
Javier Torres, 5'9", 140 pounds, and a senior. He has 39 PATs, no field goals, and he has a chance to send the D1 final into overtime. It's good!
Well, I'll tell you what, Jim, that is so good for him. His first field goal of the year couldn't come at a better time. Javier Torres comes up huge.
It's not how many you make.
It's when you make them. You're exactly right.
Years from now, people will ask Javier Torres, you're a kicker in high school? How many field goals you make? He'll say, one. One big one. Let me tell you something. People ask me, why do you want to cover high school sports all the time? That's why.
You know,
look at that young man right there. That is living. Now, look, now Jason tells him, well, you got to kick off for us. We're not done yet.
You're not done. Go back out there. I said earlier, you alluded to the fact when he wasn't out on the punt team, and I said, well, he better make up for it later. It's going to determine whether he walks home or rides the bus home.
He's in the front seat now.
Yeah, no, he's sitting by Coach Jaso on the way back.
Hey, well, Mike, Jim and I had a chance to be here last year when Long Beach Poly played Modern Day in this game. It was a tie. It finished in a tie. The rule was they did not play overtime. And I'll tell you what, I've never been more disappointed with high school sports.
JJ, after that game, we went across doing the Lord's work across the street as we do after games. And we were talking with some of the CIF folks, and we said, hey, you got to change that rule. And to their credit, they did. They changed that rule, and there will be overtime. No more tie. Modern Day and Poly tied a couple of years ago, and that's not going to happen anymore. We're going to settle this thing. There's still 4 seconds, and I take you back to the pooch punt. Remember, Loyola gave Long Beach Poly a short field. They went 59 yards in a minute 8-9 plays and got the Torres field goal.
But, you know, it's kind of this underlying theme that Coach Grady went to SC and Coach Jason went to UCLA. You think of the Pac-10 this season, how many overtime games there were. It's very fitting the way this is ending.
Torres is going to kick it deep. It's Quentin Daniels. This will be the last play of regulation. And we're going overtime.
Hello.
Well, how fitting to have such a great game, a defensive struggle, all of a sudden offense at the end of the game, and now we have to go overtime to finish this thing.
You're talking about 2 coaches that have been through the battle, and this is not the first time. Neither one of these guys are going to panic And when you go to overtime, they're just sitting there, and you saw Steve Grady, the look on his face like, all right, let's just keep doing our business.
Steve Grady at halftime, well, he told Brian Curtis that this one was coming down to 2 quarters. 2 quarters plus. We're going overtime because Loyola with some last-minute heroics. Joe Killifer, the touchdown, put them in front. But Javier Torres, 1 field goal this year. You go, man.
Şimdi güzel şehrimiz Diyarbakır'a hoş geldiniz. Evet, yarışmacımız Yaşar yürüyor. Yaşar hazırlanıyor. Mükemmel bir atlayış. Atladı. Çok güzel bir atlayış. Herkes şaşkın. Atlayıştı. Evet, omuz ve baş sallama. Evet, ve Yaşar görünüyor.
Sunday night fights on Fox Sports Net. Pound for pound, the best fighters in the world go toe-to-toe. Witness boxing fury from a ringside seat. Sunday night fights on Fox Sports Net.
The New York Times says NFL This Morning is a 2-hour calamity. They say hope for continued sanity at NFL This Morning has ended, and that the cast would belch their way through their college fight songs if given the green light.
Sounds good to me.
We may not have the same taste as the New York Times, but we sure know how to have fun.
You don't have the remote, baby. NFL This Morning.
NFL This Morning, tomorrow on Fox Sports Net.
Emirates Back Classic. Ifikile mina inkulu manje bekade thethwa ngayo khangele iminyete labantu okanye uyobetheka kakhulu ngeshwani yakhe siyevulile namkelekile manene nani manene kazi ifikile mina belilindele imina inkulu kakhulu namhlanje kuzawukhawuka ngoba
We were tied at halftime, 0-0. We're tied at the end of regulation, 10-10. Here's how it happened in the second half. Loyola with a Nathan Oakes field goal, 46 yards. Then Long Beach Poly with a block. Simmons blocks it, Darnell Bing jumps on it, and Poly was in front 7-3. Back comes Loyola with time running down. Where? To Killifer, touchdown. And it's 10-7 Loyola, and then with just 5 seconds left on the clock, Javier Torres says, never in doubt, baby, never in doubt. Just like Ollie and Hoosiers, I knew it was in all the way.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he knew. That's got to be the toughest thing in the world, to not have had one all year and get frozen out and then go out and kick it through.
Well, it's only appropriate that we have our first overtime game in the CIF championship, and this is how we play it. It's just like college football. We'll flip a coin to see who gets the ball first, and we'll put it at the 25-yard line. Each team is going to get a possession. If you're not familiar with this, you run, you can get first downs, you keep going till you run out of downs, or you score. You can kick a field goal, you can score a touchdown, then you have to kick the extra point, and whoever has the higher number of points after an equal number of possessions wins the CIF Division I championship. How'd I do, JJ?
That's pretty good, Jim. But the strategy for the team that wins the coin toss is to go on defense first, right, because that way you will know what you need to win.
You know, what happens is if you get to a situation and you're the first team with a possession, you don't know if a field goal is going to be enough. You don't know if you have to roll the dice and try to go to the end zone. But if you, like you said, you went on defense first, there's some certainty there. If they scored 3, you got to get in the end zone, or you can kick it and go play another overtime period.
JJ's right. Poly won the toss, and so they're going to make Loyola play football first. And they're going to come down and play it right on the scratched up infield. Now this is the way it should be done, right down here where most of the fans are. And you know, if you're Loyola, I think they chose this end because that's where their fans are. Their fans are behind that goalpost.
Right, but the one thing I would question if I am Loyola is why go this way. You have one advantage in this overtime. That is the field goal kicker. He's in field goal range right now.
Yeah, Nathan Oakes, who already won the semifinal for Loyola with a 37-yarder. He's got a 46-yarder tonight. Matt Ware under center. Now it's just like regular offensive possession. Matt Ware gets a great block from Killefer. Ware out of bounds at the 13-yard line. Joe Killefer scored the touchdown earlier, the tight end, a beautiful seal block on the corner.
Yeah, Jim, but the play calling for Loyola, I don't know what has happened, but they have woken up the play calling. Right. Very imaginative. That time they fake the dive and actually run Ware on like a trap.
Yeah, but look at the block by Killefer right at the end there. A great seal, and that allows Matt Ware to get outside. You got to get your best athlete out there, keep the ball in his hands.
And Lance Martin, the wide receiver, making a block downfield. JJ, I'm not surprised you didn't see it. Wide receivers can block.
That's right.
Not that you ever did.
Oh, yeah. You must have watched some of my tape.
It's a first down. First down at the 12-yard line for Matt Ware and the Cubs. They fake to Rice. Ware rolls. Ware's going to have to run it. Nobody open. And a penalty flag at the 10-yard line. Ware took a look. Nobody was there and then closed up quickly, didn't it?
Yeah, another coverage sack for the Long Beach Poly Jackrabbits. You know, they've been playing excellent in the secondary. They only have to rush the 4 front linemen. They don't have to do stunts, twists, and send at linebackers. So they have 7 guys in pass defense, and they covered all the receivers that time.
You know, and that is
against Loyola. Sorry, Mike, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Jim. The defensive line of Poly definitely gives you an advantage when you think about that. When you can rush 4 and you know, drop 7, you know, yeah, that's why you're going to have a coverage sack. And you've got offensive linemen that have not played against guys that have the athletic ability and the skills that the Poly Jackrabbits have.
Well, they've run the fumble Ruski. They've dragged the tight end through their own backfield. You know Steve Grady can go deep into the playbook. What else they have, JJ?
Hey, well, I know that they have more trick plays, that's for sure, and we'll see how many of them they can pull out now. Now, they're in great scoring range. They're choosing to spread the field right now. 4 receivers in the game.
Clark and Kubulich at the top of the screen. Ware looks to that side. Ware's going to tuck it and run. Talia Uli came up to make a play, and then Tago got him inside the 15. How many collisions has Matt Ware been involved in tonight?
A few. And
I'm not riding home with him.
No, and now Darnell Bing is another guy that can come from his safety spot and bring it. So you got the 2 big hitters on defense going head-to-head with Darnell Bing and Matt Ware.
And he's just been attracting violence, and he's been dishing a lot out in the defensive secondary as well.
Yeah, but Jim, watch this. Look at number 90, Manuel White. I mean, right, he was in the backfield before Ware could even get into his pass drop. He is phenomenal on the inside. He's been in Ware's face. I know one person that Matt Ware will wake up seeing tonight is number 90.
Now, if I'm Matt Ware, I try to get them to jump off sides because obviously Manuel Wright's guessing the snap down.
That's right.
Second down and 13. Only 2 receivers and 2 backs. Kavulich and Daniels are the wide guys. And they're going to throw. Running a slant at the goal line, almost intercepted, and pass interference perhaps as flags come flying in. Now, Quentin Daniels was the intended receiver, and Paulie had 3 guys close on the football. Yeah. Now, let's see. The ball may have been tipped. Now, pass interference against Paulie.
Ray Washington came up and had some contact.
Yeah, you see Ware throw. And actually, it's Odell Jackson that came in a little bit early. And you can't see it from that angle, but there was inadvertent contact before that ball actually got there. So Odell Jackson will get hit for the pass interference.
Is he trying to make a play on the ball?
Well, he was in perfect position, just got a little bit anxious. He knew he was there. You know, as a cornerback, you know when you're in good position and you know where the ball's coming. So he knew that he had the perfect position to make a play. He just got there a little early.
Well, when you're a DB and you're on the goal line, you might as well. You know, don't let the guy get position on you where, you know, he's gonna get leverage. Go ahead and take him out.
It better be early than late.
Remember, high school football, the ball's only moved to the 6-yard line. It's not like in the pros. It wouldn't be on the 1. Hand off to Rice, the sophomore, and Tago hits him immediately. Tago, who was down earlier, is slow to get up again.
Yeah, but I tell you, this has to be a frustrating night for Rafael Rice. I mean, this is a guy that rushed for over 1,300 yards this year and 20 touchdowns. He hasn't had a crack to even think about getting through tonight. They have shut down all the running lanes.
Yeah, but he hasn't been playing against Ray Tago in those games either.
It's one thing to keep in mind, and that is the defense can return a fumble or an interception all the way back, which would really end the game. Back to Rice. Inside the 5-yard line.
Well, your question here, maybe Steve Grady feeling that he can go up by 3 and put the pressure on the Long Beach Poly Jackrabbits to have to score. Of course, they do have an advantage with the kicking game, and remember, his defense has carried him all year, so it might not be a bad tactic.
Wait, JJ's trying to tell me that guy, Steve Grady, who's already run a fumble risky and dragged his tight end, is playing it conservative on first down?
Hey, well, 2 running plays in a row, you know, Jim, you gotta question that. He has a lot of trick plays, but I can guarantee you Matt Ware will be handling this ball right here.
3rd down and 4. They're going to throw. In and out of the hands of Clark. He had it, and he dropped it. And it's 4th down. And so now you got to bring on Nathan Oakes and take the 3.
I'll tell you what, Matt Ware had to be frustrated. He has had his receivers that have the dropsies often tonight, and this is a big catch, a nice throw.
It's a good throw.
Good throw. That ball has to be caught.
Clark knew it.
Well, it's not the fact that it's accurate as much as it's got the touch where it is a catchable ball.
So now it comes down again to Nathan Oakes from 22 yards out. Off of the dirt. And he kicks it into his classmates. 13-10 Loyola, so now Poly will get the football. If they score a touchdown, they win. If they kick a field goal, we play on. And if they don't score, Loyola wins.
Well, I mean, touchdowns have been a rarity in this game. They've been hard to come by, so I don't think there's any disgrace of sitting there saying to yourself, I'm going to get a field goal and let's move on. I like my kicker a lot better than I like your kicker.
That's why I questioned the strategy before, if whether Grady maybe be getting a little conservative and settle for the 3.
Now keep in mind, tomorrow on Fox Sports Net, exciting NBA basketball coming your way. The Lakers taking on the Pistons from Staples Center. All starts at 6 o'clock, the pregame show. Pistons and the Lakers tomorrow night on Fox Sports Net. And check it out. Think any Lakers are at home watching this one?
They all are. Got to. They know. They know quality football when they see it.
Kobe's sleeping so he can get another 51.
Poly's turn from the 25. 1st down. Brooks is the quarterback. And it's going to be delayed. You know, even though we're in overtime, the 25-second play clock begins. Poly lined up on the sideline. They huddle around the head coaches on the sideline to get their play. Then they nonchalantly went out on the field, but the back judge has already started that clock. You have to keep it in mind. Even though there's no running clock here in the game, the 25-second clock still exists.
But, Jim, this game is in overtime. The offense knows they're getting ready to get on the field. It's inexcusable. They tried to run a receiver on the field late. Inexcusable for a person not to be on the field and ready to run a play on the first play of overtime.
Willis, Candler, and Hawkins are to the right. Those are the only receivers. But keep in mind, Mercedes Lewis, the tight end, is also on the field. They go to Willis, and he makes the catch at the 12-yard line. That's enough for another 1st down.
Yeah, Mike Willis has been huge here in the second half. Now remember, he's not the starting receiver. He's the 3rd receiver. He comes in and makes another catch. I talked to Merle Cole before the game. He said, look, John, I got 3 receivers that are getting Division I scholarship. We have talent on the outside.
Now don't forget, there he is, the tight end, Mercedes Lewis, 6'6", and he's a basketball player. He already scored a touchdown that was ruled out of the end zone on the fade. If they get close enough, they may go back to him again. Brooks, Herschel Dennis, and he gets in the end zone, they win it! Touchdown, Long Beach Poly! Well, Jim, as you can imagine, they're
going crazy at Long Beach Poly. They're going to be the CIF Division I champions. And on a great play call, you slip Herschel Dennis out into the flat, one-on-one against the defender. You can forget it.
Mike Lamb, Tuesday, he stood up in front of the rest of the team and he said, it's important. This is the big one. You got to come to play.
And he definitely came to play, and I got to tell you something. Herschel Dennis, that's a guy who's got some broad shoulders because he put his team up on those shoulders. He carried those guys. There were a lot of times when guys weren't focused. He was. But you've got to go back and think about Brandon Brooks, a guy who essentially is the backup quarterback, comes in and wins this football game by throwing it in the late part, and they go to the guy, how appropriate, that has carried them throughout this championship game.
Greg Kuvulich, the only guy with a shot, and no shame in getting juked in the open field by Herschel Dennis. How does anybody make a solo tackle on Herschel Dennis out in the open field? Brandon Brooks, who started this game on the bench, turns out to be one of Paulie's heroes.
Well, he won't be on the bench again anytime soon.
Yeah, he'll be the starter next year. Herschel Dennis, he was the big name coming in. He doesn't say too much, but you're going to hear about that one forever. Long Beach Poly beats Loyola for the Division I championship 16-13. They'll come back to Edison Field.
The New York Times says NFL This Morning is a 2-hour calamity. They say hope for continued sanity at NFL This Morning has ended, and that the cast would belch their way through their college fight songs if given the green light.
Sounds good to me.
We may not have the same taste as the New York Times, but we sure know how to have fun.
You don't have the remote, baby. NFL This Morning.
NFL This Morning, tomorrow on Fox Sports Net.
Long Beach Poly beats Loyola 16-13 in overtime for the CIF Division I championship. The hero was the guy who carried them all year long, Herschel Dennis. And he's standing by along with his head coach, Jerry Jaso, with Brian Curtis.
Well, Jim, an unbelievable finish to this game as the coach and the player. Let me just ask you this right off the bat, Dennis. What a way to end a game and what a way to win a championship.
We did great. You know, we all sticked as a family. We stayed together. We executed right, had a great game plan, and we just came out with a good victory.
There were times in the game where you personally were struggling, but you guys turned it on in the second half, and obviously you capped it off with that run.
Yeah, we had to. We had to stay in the struggle. In the struggle, we had to get stronger. You know, we just stayed in the game, started as a family, and we just, you know, came out with a good victory.
Coach, I talked to you at halftime. It was 0-0. You were going to make some changes, make some adjustments. The second half, boy, what a nail-biter.
Yeah, you know, I'm not pleased with the way we moved the ball out or the way we scored, but, you know, I've got to love it, the fact that we won. I mean, it was a great win. We get the ball back with 1:21, I believe, and go down and tie it up. You know, that's a Poly victory today. Our kids don't quit. You know, Herschel mentioned it. We try to tell these guys to be a family and stay together no matter what, never quit. And, boy, tonight's a great example of that. I'm just so proud of our kids because we got some adversity and we just battled through it.
One thing you said in the huddle with your team after regulation is, guys, this is not sudden death. Let's play. No matter what happens, we'll have the chance to come back. And that's what happened. They got the field goal, and you guys had the chance to stick it in.
Yeah, you know, we had we ran a play down there on for the touchdown that we had run down here, and we threw to somebody else. So we got to look at it down here, and it looked like they uncovered. So we came back to it, and we were fortunate enough to hit it.
Guys, that is a great victory for both of you. Congratulations to you and you. Jim, back to you.
Thanks, all right. Jerry Jaso and Herschel Dennis. So many heroes for Long Beach Poly tonight and for Loyola. Well, Matt Ware played a tremendous game. Joe Killifer, great fourth quarter heroics. Much more to come from Edison Field. For Nathan Oakes and the rest of the Cubs, tough night. It's the end of it.
Hey, Keith, can you do something about this you the man bullshit?
As God is my witness, we will find a cure for this in our lifetime.
The Keith Olbermann Evening News, Sundays at 10 on Fox Sports Net.
Kasukale Emirates Classic.
Ifikile mini nkulu matube kati tetwa ngai ko khangele mini tela ba namkelekile manene namanene kazi ifikile mine bedilindele imine nkulu kakhulu namhlanje kuzawukhawuka ngoba
Sunday night fights on Fox Sports Net. Pound for pound, the best fighters in the world go toe-to-toe. Witness boxing fury from a ringside seat. Sunday night fights on Fox Sports Net.
I'm Jim Rome. Next week on The Last Word, we'll break down Mario Lemieux's surprising return to the NHL. Believe it or not, I found somebody who thinks that's actually a bad idea. Plus, I'll be joined by controversial Dallas Mavericks owner Mark Cuban. The Last Word, 6:30 and 11:30 on Fox Sports Net.
Kasukale Emirates Classic.
ifikile mini nkulu matube kati tetwa ngai ko khangele mini tela ba namkelekile manene namanene kazi ifikile mine bedilindele imine nkulu kakhulu namhlanje kuzawukhawuka ngoba
The CIF championship, it goes to overtime, and they win it. Herschel Dennis scoring a touchdown, and the emotion overcoming most of the Jackrabbits, most of the players and the fans at Edison Field. Long Beach Poly, the Division I champions. Herschel Dennis is your hero on the offensive side of the ball. They're the guys who scored to win it, but it was the defense for Long Beach Poly that kept the Jackrabbits in it all night long, and one of their big heroes all year long, Marvin Simmons, standing by with Brian Curtis.
Thanks, Jim, and you're right. The defense really held them today. And Marvin, your last game as a Poly player, what a way to go out.
You know what? This is the most exciting game I've ever had my whole life. I played 4 years of varsity. Never anything like this, you know, and it's a great opportunity for me to step up and show what kind of players we have at Long Beach Poly and the good coaching we have.
Marvin, at any time during the game or in the second half, was there any doubt in your mind that you guys were going to win this, especially the fact that they scoreless at halftime and then, of course, tied at the end of regulation?
We were going in telling ourselves that defense is going to have to score. It's going to have to be a big play, special teams, anywhere we can get it, go 100%, and something to happen.
And Marvin, last question. I know this has been an unbelievable game filled with great memories. Can you pick out one thing that happened in this game that's going to stick in your mind?
The block punt that led us to overtime and the winning touchdown. You know, that set everything up, and big players make big plays in big games, and that's something we stress here.
And you're right, you were a big player today. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Jim, pandemonium down here. I hope it's calmer up in the booth.
Yeah, he said it, and JJ, we've been saying it for years. Big players make big plays in big games. Marvin Simmons did with that block punt. Your final numbers on the night, as if it matters, but look at the difference in total yards, gentlemen. It's almost a 200-yard difference.
Yeah, but Loyola came up with the plays to get them to that overtime. The one thing that kept them in the game was the turnovers by Long Beach Poly. But, Jim, that was just an outstanding game.
And Mike, let's talk about the job that Steve Grady and the Cubs did, because they did exactly what they had to do. They slowed down that high-octane offense of Long Beach Poly. They won the battle of turnovers. They stayed in the game. They gave themselves a chance to win it.
Well, they definitely had a chance to win it, and you're thinking when they go to overtime because of the superior kicking game, they've got a pretty good chance. You've got to salute what Steve Grady did with this Loyola Cub ball team.
Yeah, and let's talk real quickly about Herschel Dennis and what he means to this Long Beach Poly team. He's a junior. He's coming back.
Yeah, and that's the bad news for the rest of the CIF is they'll have to deal with him again next year. But, I mean, you can't say enough about him. You know, he took a leadership role this year, as we talked about this week. We talked about when the team wasn't practicing well, and how fitting is it for the guy that has made all the big plays all year long to come up big, and as Marvin Simmons said, big players make big plays in big games.
It's not only a big game, it's a special game because it went overtime, and it's worth another look. This one we'll remember for a long, long time. Remember, it was 10-10 as we went to overtime. Nathan Oakes with a field goal. make it 13-10 Loyola, but this was your winning touchdown. Brandon Brooks to Herschel Dennis out in the flat. Greg Kavulich couldn't make the one-on-one tackle. He gets inside the cone, and a touchdown for Herschel Dennis. And this is exactly what we wanted, Mike. 1 and 2 in Southern California. We're at the big park. We got 3 guys in the booth. We're all ready for it, and we got exactly what we wanted, a great game.
And everybody got what they wanted. I got smash mouth football, and it was one on a pass play, so all 3 of us are happy the way things went.
JJ, you get what you wanted tonight?
Oh, Jim, you couldn't ask for anything more. You know, last year we had this game. It ended in a tie. The most disappointing feeling was walking out of the stadium as a tie. This time, no unfinished business. It's over. Long Beach Poly wins.
Long Beach Poly was #1 in Southern California all year long. People said that they couldn't be beat. Well, they were taken to the limit by a very good Loyola club. The Cubs will finish 13-1, but Poly is perfect at 14-0. Herschel Dennis and the Jackrabbits win it 16-13. That is going to do it for your producer, Micah King, and for John Jackson and Mike Lamb, and of course, Brian Curtis. I'm Jim Watson saying so long from the Big Ed. Your final score again, Long Beach Poly 16, Loyola 13 in overtime. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time from the Hardwood. High school basketball coming your way. Congratulations to the Long Beach Poly Jackrabbits, CIF Division I champions for the year 2000. They beat Loyola in overtime, 16-13.
Şimdi güzel şehrimiz Diyarbakır'a hoş geldiniz. Evet, yarışmacımız Yaşar yürüyor. Yaşar hazırlanıyor. Mükemmel bir atlayış. Atladı. Çok güzel bir atlayış. Herkes şaşkın. Atlayıştı. Evet, omuz ve baş sallama. Evet, ve Yaşar görünüyor.
The New York Times says NFL This Morning is a 2-hour calamity. They say hope for continued sanity at NFL This Morning has ended, and that the cast would belch their way through their college fight songs if given the green light.
Sounds good to me.
We may not have the same taste as the New York Times, but we sure know how to have fun.
You don't have the remote, baby. NFL This Morning.
NFL This Morning, tomorrow on Fox Sports Net.
Hey, Keith, as a respected sports journalist, what advice can you give on helping me score with the ladies?
Keep hanging out at